everyone. Welcome back to a Treknado commentary. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Brandon.
And I'm Adam.
And today we're doing Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country.
Yay!
You guys sometimes seem to forget that you're like the co-host and not the audience.
We're a little of both.
So Star Trek VI, the last of the TOS films. We're already here, guys. We're
sixth
already,
movie.
or finally. We're finally
Yes,
to
How have we
Star
gotten
Trek
this
VI.
far already?
The second Nicholas Meyer directed Star Trek movie, the third
Yes.
written or co-written Nicholas Meyer
Right.
Star Trek movie. This one is somewhat of a mixed bag for me. I like it a lot, but I've always had some issues with it.
Right.
My wife and I have done videos on this movie. She really doesn't like Star Trek VI, which is kind of like fighting words to a lot of Star Trek fans. You know, you got a lot of people that think all the even ones are really good, and if Nicholas Meyer touches it, it must be
Right.
wonderful. And she's got some really good, legitimate points about it. I kind of wish she was with us today doing this commentary, but we have done videos on that in the past. You can go find the old Trexperts on Star Trek VI. But anyway, and actually I showed that to Eric last year, and we did a video on that too. So there's at least 3 or 4 videos on Star Trek VI on the channel. If anybody really likes Star Trek VI and wants to hear a lot of discussion about it. So I'm sure you will hear me say things today I've said many times before. But when was the last time you guys saw this?
We were watching Club.
Yeah, I think probably Club.
We used to have a Star Trek club, and so maybe, a couple of years ago?
Yeah. That's probably the last
At
time I
least.
watched it.
I don't even remember that. We watched this in Star Trek Club?
Yes.
You guys both remembered that, and I was
Yes,
like,
we did.
I feel like
forgot we did that.
I feel like it was one of our special days where we had an
Watched
event just to watch a movie.
oh, okay.
Watched it.
It's really funny. I hosted that. I don't even remember it. That happens. I
That's
hosted
alright, I was there and I don't
many
even
things.
remember most of it. No.
Anyway, so any preamble, any memories, anything you guys want to talk about before we jump into this?
I was disappointed in the fact that we got a different Vulcan sidekick character in this one than we had before.
We'll talk about that. That was a
Yeah.
big misstep.
Yeah.
Is this one that you watched very much growing up?
Yeah, I watched this a lot growing up. I like this one a lot.
Did you
When I was
happen
a
to see
kid.
this in the theater?
I did not see this.
Because
in
you
the
and I
theater,
are both old
but
enough.
This is
You might have-
actually.
well,
the
and Brandon
first-
is too, but I don't know if you
I
did.
think this is
Nope.
actually the very first Star Trek thing I saw
Oh,
as
interesting.
a kid.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
wow.
my parents either watched it like on VHS or HBO or something, like right after it had come out, and like they had rented it, and I remember
From the
seeing it.
Blockbuster.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, and I remember seeing it that way, but I remember the whole thing with the Klingon blood and like the ship exploding on the view screen and stuff. But it wasn't really the very first time I like sat down and intentionally watched Star Trek. That was like the time I think that was Star Trek 4 I watched on TV one time, and that's like kind of got me into Star Trek. But yes.
you remember distinctively
But I remember
seeing
seeing this. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the first Star Trek movie I saw in the theater was
Generations.
Generations.
That's the first one I saw in the theater.
I know for sure I saw First Contact. I'm pretty sure I saw Generations.
Yeah, I
in
saw
the theater.
I remember seeing Generations.
6 is one of those that I mixed up with certain scenes with some of the other movies.
I remember being mad at when I saw
The,
Generations.
the first
Really?
Star
The
Trek
Kirk
movie.
guy.
The first Star Trek
For
movie.
me, it was
that I-
Star Trek on the big screen, so like I
Yeah.
loved it. I don't
Yeah.
think it would have mattered what they put on the screen. I mean, I think it could have been Mr. Potato Head dressed as Captain Kirk, and I would have loved it.
The first Star Trek movie that I saw in theaters was unfortunately Nemesis.
Nemesis.
You
Yeah.
never saw the other ones?
Nope.
Did you just not go to the theater much when you were a kid?
I did, but it was usually, it just wasn't Star Trek stuff.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't a lot of other stuff, and
You just-
my
you
grandpa had been
couldn't-
into Star Trek, but my grandmother wasn't.
You couldn't get somebody to take you to Star Trek? Oh, okay.
No, I mean, it really wasn't on the list of things. It was, you would go to some movies and then like mostly violin, just violin stuff all the time.
They only went to movies with violins in them.
Well, I did see the red violin growing up.
Well, anyway, let's go ahead and get into it, guys. If you want to watch the movie with us, we encourage you to do that. Get out your Blu-ray, your DVD, however you want to watch
I
it.
think it's streaming.
Once again, not streaming anywhere at the moment. At one time, most of these were.
They all were.
But
Yeah.
at the Netflix would take them on and off though.
Right.
Like very often, you'd have like
There was like
8
a perfect
out
storm
of
where you
the-
have most of. There was like a couple of times where they were all on there at once. I think,
Usually you'd have like
but
8
usually it
of
would
the 10,
be randomly missing some. Yeah.
and not counting. And I'm not counting the Abrams movies because that was always kind of random too.
Right.
But anyway, well, let's go ahead and get into it. Everybody, please press play. As soon as I say now, we're going to get started right now. Everybody, please press play right now.
So this movie came out in
91.
early 90s.
91. So Adam and I were discussing this before we got started here, and I think I'm right about this. I think these are maybe the only two Star Trek movies, 5 and 6, that only come out 2 years apart instead of 3. Or is that also the case with Generations and First Contact? Because Generations, is that 94?
Generations came out 94, First Contact 96.
And then
Insurrection 98.
Insurrection's 98. Okay, so I guess once we got to the TNG movies, we were doing that more frequently.
Yeah.
But Nemesis isn't until 02. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like this theme a lot. Is this another Horner score?
No, this is some weird guy named like Cliff Ildeman or something.
Oh, that's
like
right.
that.
I forgot.
Some weird guy.
He's got a really nice haunting main theme here for the, kind of inciting the Klingon stuff.
Right. So at this point, were they like, well, Star Trek V didn't do so well, but we don't want that to be their end. Their swan, their swan song, as it were.
I think it did well enough.
That
it still made sense to make one more movie. Yeah,
for the 25th anniversary.
I think that was most of it, though. I think you're absolutely right. It was just it's the anniversary. And we're gonna start, and we'll be bringing these things up a lot with the TNG movies when we're about to get into those. We're gonna see a whole lot of stuff in this movie that's kind of recycled from TNG, and like sets and props and things.
Oh my god, like
the corridors.
I mean, it's not as bad as Star Trek V.
Yeah,
but they did a little bit better job dressing it up.
Yeah,
but it's I mean. There's like one shot at least where they're in engineering, and it's just a TNG engineering set. Which some different with the blue late 23rd century Okutagrams instead of the TNG ones.
Oh,
that's all it was. Yeah. And they also have the more of the classic Dick Meyer taking doors down right through pipes and stuff, because like when they're closing doors in the corridor, they go right through overhead pipes, which wouldn't really make very much sense.
One thing I love about this score and this main theme here in particular is it sounds like what you might have done with the Klingons are the big bad guys of the film kind of movies, and of course we have that in that our main bad guy is General Chang,
right?
But when you have the whole story, it kind of, in my mind anyway, starts to signify more the conspiracy than it does the bad guy Klingons. Yeah,
it's not really
the sense of mystery. It kind of is more about like the how do we fire when we're cloaked,
as opposed to the bad guy Klingon theme of Jerry Goldsmith from the first.
Which I don't know if this movie ever evokes.
I
don't know if that comes up in this.
I don't think it does.
It might have been smart to get away from it.
Right.
That reminds me of...
Because it's more complicated than that, because we've got Klingon allies and Klingon bad guys.
So Sulu finally got his ship.
Yep.
Yeah, George Takei was happy about that.
Took long enough. Yeah, and nothing against Takei, but you can tell he's milking it a little bit.
He is.
I mean, he's really excited to finally get to do that. And of course... He doesn't get to do a whole lot in this, but it is nice to like finally get another ship and to start to get a sense that these people are growing up and moving away from each other, and we don't do it with anybody else. I mean, to be fair though, like Chekhov wasn't on the ship in Wrath of Khan. Like,
no, he moved. Yeah.
From the beginning of the movie era, you got the sense that we were going to start to depart people a little bit.
Right.
Or at least,
and at least for 3 of those movies, it made sense for them to be together because they were so, kind of a continuing story.
No, Brandon, that's not the Nexus. Don't get excited. It's not the Nexus.
They're in some sort of... So this wave that comes at them, of course, we learn what this is in a little bit, but this wave that comes at them, I just feel like it's come out so incredibly far from where this it emanated from.
Yeah.
And they moved it quite a clip.
Would it move that fast? Yeah that's a good question.
Well...
And there they are, sprawled all over the bridge.
Because it's just an explosion.
They're all in a pile right where the cameras
it's Klingon Chernobyl. That's what it is.
No, I know what it is. I'm just saying, like, the wave would just be caused by the explosion.
That was interesting.
Sure,
Right.
but it's just so far away from...
Right. It wouldn't go
home.
that fast. Right.
Yeah.
Unless
if it
they
was
were
moving
literally right in the solar system of the Klingons.
Right, if it was moving that fast and we just saw it pass over their ship kind of
It's
slowly.
like the supernova destroying the galaxy.
Well, and that's why I want to ask you a potentially ignorant question, but I don't want to assume that the science in a Star Trek movie is right.
Right.
Because we're going to get to Generations and it gets really silly, like how fast a missile can go from the
Right.
Earth to like the moon. Yeah, we're having some technical issues with my Blu-ray player. Hopefully it works out okay. Anyway, but would the explosion of a moon cause a shockwave?
I mean, it could cause a shockwave, but it wouldn't travel anywhere close to the speed of light, let alone,
This is
go
one of my
from
favorite crap
where they
fiction
are all the
Star
way
Trek.
out to the edge of the neutral zone, or
Look at how well they've rendered this praxis here.
I know, like it was like a painting.
Yeah. And they're so far away and they can zoom in on the explosion.
Yeah. Are they using the rear projection again that they used in the last movie? I wasn't that big of a fan of that compared to just putting the a blue screen up and then putting it in afterwards.
I think we talked about this with Five Some too,
Yeah.
but it's kind of interesting, like while you're in the middle of making a 24th century show that has Klingons in it, that
Right.
you'd go back to the movies and have to make
And
movie era Klingons.
Right, with the baddies. Right.
But also with
And,
the foreheads and,
Right.
like they look different.
Right.
And at this point, even though we've got modern Star Trek,
Right.
we still barely go to Earth. We're still doing that more in the movies.
Right.
Like, have we I just don't remember. Is there any place in, like, first season TNG where we go to San Francisco?
Yes.
Isn't
Conspiracy.
it the conspiracy?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we actually see San Francisco? Did we do that map painting?
No, they reused that map painting. From,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know.
four.
I know. There's
Yeah.
there's a map painting we reused, but I couldn't remember if it was actually in that episode or not.
Yeah.
I like that table.
You and your table.
That's just cool. It's a hollow center.
Yeah, it's wasted space.
You can do all sorts of stuff with that space. They're
Right.
wasting it.
You could
I
could
wouldn't.
play shuffleboard.
The only time that these people
you could go bowling.
Is this the only time we've seen them wear like campaign ribbons on their
Yeah,
uniforms?
I
and
just
stuff?
noticed that. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, I've never.
No,
seen...
that's weird.
Yeah.
That's almost
Is
going
it?
too far with the naval thing.
Yes. 'Cause I've never seen them ever do that. I mean, okay, they did
feel
it
like
like
we
in
have.
TOS with those little triangle thingies.
Right, but they don't look like that.
They don't look like the United States Army. You know what I
That
mean?
looks
That's
too.
what that
Yeah,
looks
yeah.
like.
If you're going to do it,
They
it
went
should.
to Army surplus and put a bunch of ribbons on.
That's right. Yeah, it shouldn't look like what we had in America.
Right.
Given that you're not wearing just like straight up American uniforms.
right.
Like, no, that should look a little bit more foreign.
And they got all these sharper image lamps on their desk. I don't know what that's all.
I do think the setup for what brings the Federation and the Klingons together finally is a really good one.
Yeah.
And yeah, like yes, of course, it has to be a conspiracy because you have to try to make it a big
Right.
enough thing, a big
Right.
enough plot that there's an interesting movie to be made.
Right.
But forgetting the conspiracy for a minute, I just like the idea of like because of the way the Klingons run their empire, like
Right.
they need us now.
The
Well, yeah, and they
Starfleet.
just ripped it directly from what happened with the Soviet Union and stuff,
Yeah.
and basically how it collapsed.
But that's a
under
very
its
TOS
own-
thing to do.
right? Its own, yes.
To use that
And
as an
because
allegory.
Klingons were always supposed to be the foil stand-ins for the Russians in the original series and stuff.
And of course,
so it
this
kinda got
movie's
back to
being
that.
made as the Berlin Wall is
Right,
falling.
right. Yeah, the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991. Like that was it in 91.
Yeah.
I think.
So, like,
91 or 92.
They would
I can't
be
remember.
they would be
92.
shooting. They would be shooting. They certainly wouldn't
Yeah.
have written this after that happened,
Right,
right?
Mhm.
right.
So like they're talking about a thing that is
Right.
happening as they're
Right,
making
as
it,
they're making
and
it.
has happened by the time it comes out or
Right.
shortly after.
Can I ask a question about this scene? He's talking about Chancellor Gorkon and how they want to put an end to 70 years of unrelenting hostility, right?
Yeah.
And the woman says, are we talking about dismantling the Starfleet? You know, aside from that being a hokey sentence, I know what she means.
Yeah.
But at the same time, does that does that indicate that Starfleet exists for the sole purpose of keeping the Klingons at bay?
Yeah.
Because the Romulans are out there, and they're mean dudes.
But also, the Starfleet
Right.
now you got me doing it. We're just saying the Starfleet. Well, Rhiannon, the Starfleet also does not exist only as a military
Right, and
organization.
they say that. The guy says that. He's like, well, our scientific and research will remain unaffected. But
but if
as
you're
a deterrent,
you're a
they're talking
high-ranking
about,
enough officer to be in this room, that is a weird thing to say.
Yeah, it is.
they
like
might be mothballing some ships they don't need anymore and stuff.
Yeah, or closing down like a particular section.
Starfleet.
The Starfleet.
She's talking about the
What does she mean, the
specific
fleet of
aspect.
ships?
Yes, she's talking about the specific.
Oh.
That's why she says the Starfleet.
It's
It's Starfleet's Starfleet.
Yeah,
It's
So
certainly possible.
it's
You're
hokey
right.
though, but that's what it means.
you're
Right.
right. Yeah.
I mean, the 80s.
It's just a terminology issue where I wouldn't have
Right.
thought to talk about it that way. So we should mention only Nixon could go to China,
Yeah.
because it's a good, it's a fun line.
Right.
It's a real, obviously timely thing from something that happened pretty recently, and you always like. I always find myself, this is nitpicking. I always find myself asking the question, Adam, like, would anybody remember that well enough to say it that many years later? Especially,
Right.
I mean, like, maybe Spock just has recently been looking at human history, like American history, and maybe he's like looking at the history or
Right.
different histories of planets and comparing them to what's going on right now. But the issue I take with a thing like that is, but you guys always talk about things from the 20th century like they're ancient.
Right.
Yeah.
You always say
and then
ancient.
They use a really modern reference for the
Right,
audience
right.
watching the futuristic.
That's interesting.
Do you guys think the Vulcan proverb thing is like too silly and cutesy for Spock to say?
It's a space mushroom.
Yeah.
Like I've heard that argument. I always liked it. I always thought it was a pretty great line. But you could make the argument, it hasn't been that long since he came back to life. Like, would he
Right.
have that kind of humor?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I don't know.
he's totally back to the way he was. It's interesting you're talking about the Soviet Union. This movie came out on December 6th, 1991, and the Soviet Union ceased to be an entity on December 26th, 1991.
Yeah, that's really
So
interesting.
it was in the
Within
theaters.
2 weeks.
Wow, this was...
Wow! That's great. So, if you've been following this movie series, and obviously she's not in 5, but like if you've been watching these for a lot of years, and you walk in the theater, you're gonna go, oh, we've got a third actress for Saavik.
Right.
And then no, it's not Saavik.
It's not Saavik.
No.
And so as soon as there's the potential for or as soon as we know there's a saboteur on board, all
Who could
eyes
it
should
be?
be going to her.
Who could it be?
Yeah.
It could be these people we've been watching for 25 years.
Exactly. We introduced a superfluous new character.
Right.
I mean, like, it could have been some like random person that we're not told about until we bring them out, I guess.
Right. It's that girl right back there.
Yeah.
Or guy, I guess.
Well, I mean, remember, for a minute they think Lieutenant Dax did it.
Crewman Dax.
Was it crewman? Yeah, crewman Dax. Yeah.
Can I say how
That's
pretty
weird.
the
Those look like she
bridge
was
is
doing,
on that
Did
ship?
you look like
He was
that?
a
Looked like she was
crewman.
doing mixing on the control panel. There was like levels.
Here we go, out of space, Doc.
I have
But,
always wanted to try that, sir.
With permission this time.
Yes. See? TNG.
Yeah. Yeah. Please keep pointing those out.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. It's hilarious.
And
What is
for
that?
some reason,
That is some kind of weird serving tray?
Maybe.
yeah, for some
Service?
reason, I mean, I know why it happened. But within the universe, I don't know why it happened.
Okay.
Why his quarters somehow became half the size they were on the old Enterprise. You
That's
know?
true.
They're
very
like
tiny now.
crewman quarters.
You know what it looks like?
Nick Meyer did it because he's obsessed with the Navy and all that
Yeah.
stuff. But
Yeah, but he shouldn't be so obsessed with that stuff that he changes what the ship looks like.
right.
Yeah, I don't love that. I mean,
Right.
like,
I mean,
That guy doesn't have
it's
big
technically
quarters.
a different ship. We didn't see his quarters in the last
is that true?
movie and stuff at all.
Okay, but there's no reason.
But there's no reason that it should be that different between. Because they're both refit Constitution class ships. There should be.
Well, and they treated the
Similar.
last ship like it was pretty state of the art.
I know, and it had all that stuff, the wreck deck and all that.
No,
crap
you know
on
how
the-
these quarters are designed. It looks like Archer.
It
looks
does.
like Archer's
It looks
quarters.
Enterprise. I
Yeah.
mean, and there's like scratches on the walls and stuff.
Or we
Look
should
at
say
that.
Archer's quarters look like
They're
this.
trying to make it
Sure.
look like this thing's about to fall apart. There's scratch.
Yeah, did you see the red on the door was missing
worn
in
off,
little
yeah.
places? Yeah.
Oh, Spock bought all this at the Vulcan head shop. Okay.
Yeah, like when Meyer comes in and kind of
He's really
redesigns
into
after
things.
Star Trek 1 to like that works really well because it gives it a new flavor and we kind of
Yeah.
forget the thing that didn't work real well, and it makes a lot of sense to redesign the aesthetic right then.
Right.
But when we've had movies, most of them successful since then,
Right.
it is weird for him to come in and be like, no, it's got to look more like Wrath of Khan now because I'm
Right.
involved.
And
Like,
they make it even more claustrophobic than Wrath of Khan, even because most of that they just kind of redressed the sets they had built for the motion picture.
And I would make the argument, maybe, tell me if I'm wrong about this, because I'm just, kind of thinking aloud, but does it even work as well thematically with the material we're given here? This isn't a naval movie
I know
in
they're
the
not
same way
gonna
Wrath
do.
of Khan
It's not
was.
like that. Oh God, the movie.
Wrath of Khan's kind of like a cat and mouse thing
right.
to some
And
degree,
it's like
right?
there's a yeah. They basically redid this movie that had Robert Mitchum in it. I can't think of the name of it. Enemy Below. I think
Yes.
that's what it was called.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah, it's space submarines chasing each
a
other.
Submarine and a destroyer basically chasing
Yeah,
each other.
this is a diplomacy thing.
right. This is a international.
This should be like,
conspiracy.
yeah, this should be the equivalent of going from between those movies,
right.
going from a small submarine to like a warship, right? Or not a warship, but like a big, or I guess a warship. Just whatever your big flagship for your fleet is,
Right.
because that's going to do the diplomacy.
Right.
So you want to get bigger before you got smaller.
Right.
So can I ask what is with this thing? Is this a ritual that Spock's got going on right
Yes.
now?
I think so. Yeah.
So he's talking to her about that he wants her to succeed him. This
It's
is
the
a
Vulcan
character we
tea dance.
just met,
I thought
and
it
we
was cool that
spent
they brought back the,
we spent 2 movies getting to know Saavik, and now he wants this person to succeed
Right.
him.
We hadn't seen those battle cruisers since the first movie,
Yeah.
and it's kind of neat that they brought them back at the.
I like the angle,
Yeah, they're repainted.
Yeah, they're painted cool.
angle at which they fly in over the Enterprise. All their hair is bigger than normal.
Well, I was gonna say we never know how to make Chekhov.
I'm pretty
Chekhov's
sure
hair look good.
he might be wearing a toupee at
That-
this point.
No, I think he absolutely must be.
They didn't give him a haircut before they decided to stylize it. And look at Shatner's hair.
Well, I mean,
Okay, well, Shatner's hair.
He-
There's a whole website about Shatner's
Yeah.
hair and how
Yeah.
it's changed.
Let's
over
not
the
get
years
into that,
and stuff.
but like I know Chekhov's quite a bit younger than Kirk, but he should be graying at this point.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
At least a little
He's
bit.
clearly using just for men gel there.
He's
I mean,
clearly
doesn't
wearing
he-
a
Yeah,
hat.
David Warner.
That looks like it. Yeah, it's David Warner.
Doesn't he look more gray in Star Trek 4, I feel like?
I don't remember.
It's,
I just saw an episode the other day of Tales of the Crypt with Tales from the Crypt with David Warner. It's hilarious.
So I guess the first time Nick Meyer worked with David Warner must have been Time After Time.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So Warner is in, as we talked about last time, 2 of these in a row.
Right.
Last movie, he's like totally superfluous and pointless,
Right.
and
Except he makes a Romulan girlfriend.
that character's ridiculous. And then here he's wonderful, and it's a testament to his performance, of course,
Right.
that it's sad how little of this movie he's in.
Right.
And when he gets taken out, and you never expect it. I mean, like I think the assassination is pretty great. I think it comes out of nowhere. I think it's a big surprise for the audience.
Right.
I never noticed this. There's a clock on that bridge that
Well, no,
tells
there's
them
clock
the time.
all over the bridge
Yeah.
in
But-
this movie for some reason. I don't know.
But the way he's
Nick
he's
Meyer
introduced
did
and
that,
how
but-
much presence and gravitas he has,
Right.
it's played like a lot of the like conflict of this movie might be, he and Gorkon trying to come to some kind of a some kind of an understanding, or them kind of maybe even being on the same page and teaming up to convince
Right.
the Klingons or the Federation to do the right thing. You know, you kind of. I think maybe some people might come into this movie and expect it to be more talky than it is.
Right.
Maybe until we see Chang and he has his bolted eye patch to his face.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that pendant on there. That's
yeah, it's
cool.
awesome.
It's
Gorkon has one of the coolest Klingon suits.
Did you notice
ever.
he brought back another little nautical thing there that he did in Star Trek 2 with the whistle when people board the ship, the naval whistle.
But they brought that into TNG. Like
that was in TNG too?
I think so. Am I wrong?
I'm sure it was.
I thought Farpoint did it.
Oh, I bet you it did, yeah.
I could be wrong. I thought Farpoint did it. No, the Klingon costumes in this are spectacular. And once again, it's not Fletcher this movie. I don't know who the costumer is here.
And they didn't really reuse these costumes after this at all, which is interesting.
No, considering how lazy they are with some set design and stuff, or just in reusing stuff, I should say, from TNG. It's cool that they remember that the Klingons did look different in this era.
Right.
And obviously, there's an evolution of the costumes, but it feels like a thought out evolution.
These are supposed to be like real high-ranking Klingons too, so they wear different uniforms than like some of the other people we see later are wearing the normal Klingon uniform. I think.
Is that right?
I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I wish. You guys are really racist. I wish we had kept the Klingon Chancellor in red.
Was there like a door back there? Where does she come from? Was she just standing?
I
there
don't know. Was she
time?
in this room? But yeah, I wish the Klingon Chancellor.
That's not suspicious.
I wish the Chancellor's
another hallway.
Oh, there was a door.
I wish the Chancellors in TNG going up.
Yeah.
Had more kind of pomp and circumstance like they do in this. Because we kind of get rid of that. We get a lot more. I don't know, rustic about it or whatever.
They just act like the normal TNG Klingons without any kind of... I mean, the only thing that they do is wear that vest thing that they had left over from Star Trek 3 that... and they put a bunch of little medals all over it. That's all,
But yeah, like, putting him in all red like that, like, I love that. Why couldn't we have hung on to that?
Why they didn't do that, yeah.
It's great.
Klingons using napkins here, guys. They're trying to do their best.
Racist, Brandon.
Well, no, they're only using napkins. He's right, though.
Oh, wait, is this the, yeah, it is. Okay, it's the observation lounge.
Oh, it is.
Oh, wow.
This isn't a place where you eat. What are we doing?
So that's the conference table?
So, you guys probably know about this, but Mark Okran had to figure out how in the world to translate to be or not to be, specifically, because there is no verb to be in Klingon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
So he had to create a construction without completely ruining the syntax.
Well, that's weird. How can you have a language with not having the verb to be?
It was the main premise of how the verbiage works in Klingon.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So well, I think there's other languages that.
I mean,
that
how
do
would they
that
describe
too.
a presence of being? I don't know. I'm not a linguist. I know Spanish. Has it?
Yeah. What you would do is you just put like a noun and a verb together, and then the to be is implied. So any verb. You know, to do this thing is implied in it. So, like, a word would be like...
So
German is this way, too. It's like, to sleep, to walk.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So it's not like they don't have a way of describing a state of being. Okay.
No, they have that.
I understand that.
But there's not a word for be.
There's not a word for it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So how do you say to be or not to be?
Right.
There wasn't a word to be. Like,
right.
And so it's like a loose translation, and I can't remember what it is now. It's been a long time since I studied it. I used to know that.
Smoking in there? What?
I mean, I know talk ba, talk bet, but I don't remember the direct translation anymore. Now, I have had, and this is a silly thing to talk about, but I have had debates with people about... Yeah, that's the obvious place to go, Kirk. I've had debates with people about what original Klingon means with the whole Shakespeare thing.
Right.
And I always assumed it was just kind of a joke where it's like, here's one thing about your culture we really like, so we're gonna pretend like it's ours.
Right.
Sort of like as an insult or just to be kind of condescending.
Right.
But I've had debates with people who think that somehow or rather that's a literal thing, and that
was a Klingon time traveler.
that just they think that for some reason, and I think that's going way too far. I think that's preposterous.
I don't think so. Yeah.
He's got some good things to say.
Maybe he shouldn't say original. Like, maybe he should just say it sounds better in Klingon. But some people hate General Chang because they get really sick of the constant Shakespeare.
Yeah.
But that's kind of his thing.
The nice thing is, whether you find that irritating or not, and I can see both sides to that. Plummer's great. He was apparently really difficult to work with people, but he's Fletcher told me stories about how hard he was to work with. And I mean, like, Fletcher's not working on this movie, but he worked with. Have I told you guys about this whole thing when Robert Fletcher created the look for the Klingons?
No.
Okay, so Plummer actually has a lot to do with the Klingon forehead.
Really?
Before he ever plays a Klingon, yeah. Because he was in a stage version of The Tempest that Fletcher designed, and he did this whole get-up for Plummer that had what is kind of tantamount to the Klingon forehead.
Oh, really?
And this whole kind of alien look to it for whatever reason.
Interesting.
It's been a while since I've read The Tempest, so I don't know why he thought that made sense for that play. But anyway, so he gives him that look, and then he shows that design to Roddenberry when they make Star Trek 1.
Right.
And pitches him that the Klingons should look more alien.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And Roddenberry goes for it. And so Plummer is, like, indirectly responsible for the look of the Klingons.
Wow.
Right.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, it's weird. But anyway, he did not like Plummer and had a hard time working with him on that play and never wanted to work with him again.
Oh, wow.
So this movie is where the kind of obsession with Romulan ale comes from.
Right.
Because they drink it at the...
I mean, they mention it in 2.
Is that the first time we see it?
They mention it in 2, but the whole thing about it being illegal, I think, comes from this movie.
No, they show it.
Is that mentioned in 2?
Bones, yeah, because he gives it to him as a gift.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I guess I always assumed that because we have a whole scene where people are drinking it, and then Kirk says, like, let's not serve this anymore, that was a bad idea. I always assumed that this movie probably was more the reason that because I forgot about that. Yeah, no, of course it's in Star Trek 2, but I always figured that was probably the reason that it keeps coming back all the time.
Right.
And remember, it's dumb when we bring it up in Nemesis because it's not illegal then anymore.
Right.
Do you remember that?
Right.
It's made not illegal anymore in Deep Space Nine.
Oh, yeah.
But they didn't know that? They didn't remember that when they wrote Nemesis?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
So then Worf is like, Romulan ale is illegal. And I'm in the theater going, nah!
So this is a cool scene. Does anybody know how they filmed this one?
I think they just put wires on him.
I'm sure.
Was it?
We are betrayed.
So, not until Enterprise really did we do a lot of stuff on TV with losing gravity.
Right.
And it's... After this movie, it got kind of glaring that we never did it. And of course, it's just really expensive to do.
Right.
But when we lose life support and stuff, and we were always losing life support, and a bunch of other, or coming close to losing life support, but we lose a bunch of other systems. The transporter is the first thing to go down. If your ship gets shot. The holodecks, one of the first things to go down. We never lose gravity.
Right.
And I think that's just because it's expensive to do.
Right.
And then we finally did it in a movie because it's a big set piece and
right.
it's a big screen, big budget movie.
Right.
And so we're gonna put more effort into it. We're gonna do things like that. You think this kind of thing would happen all the time?
Right.
It should happen all the time.
Or at least a little more often than it does.
Something that's interesting to note that it's still hard to walk. It's still hard to keep yourself upright in gravity boots. gravity boots only like connect you with the deck. They don't like keep your orientation, so you'd still be kind of floating against your feet, stuck to the ground.
Some of these effects don't hold up wonderfully well.
Yeah.
Like the blood.
I mean, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well, the thing of at the very beginning when the text first comes across the screen, it's got that color on it.
So did they do the
and it
pink blood
changes
so they
color.
could get a PG
That's
rating?
why they did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a mistake. Like, we didn't really see Klingons bleed before TNG, but once you get a TNG,
really
you
CGI
can't.
blood there.
Yeah,
Look at that.
it doesn't look great. And I think that slow motion flip was kind of a poor choice.
Right. Get out of my way, that guy.
I mean, I appreciate how ambitious they are with this, and it obviously makes the scene more thrilling. But yeah, but the pink blood was a mistake. Like, I would have just not done it at all
Right.
if you had to change the color like that. And I know this might sound nitpicky to some people, but the Klingons are like the big species. I mean, there's others, of course, but the Klingons are the big species that we make a big deal out of culture and anatomy and everything
Right.
with Star Trek, and that we kept really consistent for the most part.
Right.
Other than this,
Right.
and this movie does a couple of things like that where, like, you know that there are people that worked on TNG that are involved with this movie,
Right.
and it's oddly glaring. Like, this comes out in 91, so we would have been, what, going into the 5th season?
Yeah, that's 5th season.
And we've really solidified, especially with stuff that, Ron Moore did? Like,
Right.
we've really solidified what the Klingons are,
Right.
and what their culture is and everything, and we have, like... I don't know that it does anything that's really too against the culture, but we say, like, this is what their blood looks like, and they have no tear ducts, and we know those two things aren't true.
Right.
But to be fair, they do at least feel like Klingons, you know what I mean?
Right.
And again, they feel like movie Klingons before we get to TNG,
Right.
and like there is an evolution there.
So, Christopher Plummer's character, I all of a sudden just forgot his name.
That's Chang.
Chang. He was on the screen yelling at Kirk that he'll blow him out of the stars. He's still gripping onto a bulkhead as though he's floating, but everybody already came back down to the ground. The gravity already got restored.
Yeah, maybe he's just grabbing because his
No,
ship's
I think
down.
he was just having a hard time keeping himself upright because the ship was spinning.
Perhaps.
He wasn't
They
floating.
came about immediately afterwards, though.
Maybe he had just gotten himself off the ground.
Perhaps.
One of the problems with this movie is that it has a pretty compelling mystery without a great payoff.
Right. Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, how do they fire without, or how do they fire while cloaked? I guess they can just do that now.
Right.
Like,
We
who
just
invented
made a
it?
ship
Why
that
do
we
we
can
have
do it.
that?
Right.
Yeah, like, did they steal it from Romulans or something? Like,
Right. Which doesn't make any sense because
or someone, because the Romulans don't have that later. Like,
the Romulans had it to begin with. That they
What, they
fired
could
while
fire while
cloaked.
they're
And,
cloaked?
well, while they were cloaked in Balance of Terror, they fired
Oh, do they?
that.
I don't
I'm pretty
remember that.
sure they do. I don't remember.
okay, but they weren't doing it in TNG.
I know,
We've had
they
4
weren't-
seasons of
And they
it.
weren't doing it in Star Trek 3. Kirk says, if my guess is right, that did he cloak before they can fire?
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's precedent where we talk about it in the movies.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, the other problem with the blood is just the consistency of it. And I don't mean to talk about the blood too much, but like it's really bright and in your face,
Yeah,
and it's hard not to talk about it. It looks like Pepto Bismol.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if you had purple blood, wouldn't that make your skin color a little different? Like I don't know if you would
Yeah.
have darker skin,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, honestly,
Like Vulcans have a slightly different skin tinge because they have green blood.
Mm-hmm. You would think.
Yeah. Because they have copper, and the copper, when it's oxidized, turns green. So that's why they have green blood. So yeah.
Yeah, there's
I don't
no
know what
reason for it
purple-
here.
Yeah.
How did they get it?
Right.
Why is it that color? In
Right.
continuity, we know why it's that color for the production. This is a thing we should talk about.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that this was not even medical, practice even in 1991. Hitting somebody to try to get their heart started again. I think that was kind of.
Yeah, but he knows how much more resilient Klingons are, and I mean, he probably knows something about their anatomy.
I always wonder if he's gonna pull off his toupee. He's about to do it.
Gonna pull it right off.
Off. There it goes. There it goes.
He's gonna let everyone know.
William Shatner. Where's the toupee?
And that's it. That's all you get from Gorkon.
You know,
That's David Warner's masterful 10 minutes on screen.
yeah. But this actress, I'd never seen her in anything before or since.
Or since, yeah. As It Were is weird. This is another thing
Right.
where I think we already had enough precedent. Okay, this is kind of a Klingon culture issue.
Right.
Maybe it changed for some reason, but you wouldn't think it would regress like that.
Right.
So how come, you know what I'm going to say, right? How come she can take over the council? Women aren't supposed to be able to lead the council?
Yes.
And that's a thing we knew already, right? Are we in the middle of
And
redemption?
why didn't they have like an election?
Oh, you know
They
what?
just named
They wouldn't
her.
have written that yet, though.
Right. That's
We'd be in the middle of redemption, right? Because redemption is the cliffhanger between 4 and 5?
they would have had it already by now. This is December 1991. That would have been August or September of 91.
Oh, that's true.
So they would have aired that already.
They would have
and
already
stuff,
aired that.
right.
Yeah.
And plus, why did they not have like a thing where the council chooses a new leader rather than just I guess they did choose her as the new leader. I guess
Did they say they chose her, or does she just immediately get
I think
bumped
they
up?
just said Ezabor now has been named chancellor in her father's place. They said something like that.
Okay, so we don't know what the process was.
Right,
at
we
all.
don't know the process.
So they're very vague about the procedure there.
Right.
He sympathizes. So do we ever have an instance where they're able to hear on board the other ship like they did in this scene, where they know that Kirk and Bones are being arrested? They have a direct line on the audio.
Uhura, I guess, or maybe they told Uhura that they've been arrested. I don't know. Because she just pulls her Bluetooth head.
This is the guy at the beginning of 4.
Yes.
And he's been gunning for Kirk all this time.
I know.
Like,
Yeah,
he is ready for this
I
to go
know.
down.
This guy's name's John Schruck, this actor.
Okay, so, spoiler alert, but the Romulan will be involved in the conspiracy.
Yeah, they just leave him
Is
there in the
anyone
briefing.
surprised? Why is there a Romulan on this council? I will
Why
never
is the
understand
Romulan
that.
there in the briefing that happens right after the Klingon leaves?
Yeah, like, what is this council and why is there a Romulan on it?
Here we have Kurtwood Smith.
I've
Yes.
never understood that.
This is just Ted Ford lounge redress.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. Look at
My
that.
goodness.
Oh, that's pretty glaring now that you say it.
Look at
Wow.
that. When you
Look at
see the
ceiling.
windows,
And the
look right
the
there.
carpet doesn't.
Oh
Look at
And
no!
the carpet doesn't
Front of
match that table
That's
either.
You
hilarious.
can tell really easily with the door.
What's with the president's ornate table and chair? His leather chair.
He's the president of the Federation.
Right. Yeah, no,
so
I
what's
get
your
it.
point?
But his table is like carved ancient wood, and he's got a desk lamp.
So
I have.
the president of the United States has a desk that's
Yeah,
real old and stuff.
We don't know what you're complaining about.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brandon.
Well, no, it feels weird to me that this is how they set up the president's office, and we
Yeah,
don't
it's-
see much of that.
It's
in
weird
Star Trek.
that they put the president's office in a
Risotto.
glorified mess hall. I don't understand that.
Risotto.
Yep.
Well, they're
And,
eating in the
and,
observation
and,
deck.
Michelle
they're
Joe
sitting
has
Jose
this-
down in there.
Francisco.
Yeah, that's right. So, and of course, Cartwright was also introduced in Star Trek 4.
Yes.
Get him back.
Right.
Cartwright.
Oh, I love this
Or,
British.
sorry,
Auberginois.
West is weird. We just said that, Brandon. West is weird
I missed
because he's. This scene is hilarious.
Why is that
This
on
is
paper?
played. Give me a second. Yeah, I know. I don't understand that. This is played like a comedic scene, and it
Yeah.
is pretty funny. But I think this scene is made this comedic just so we won't suspect him,
Right.
right?
He's got a laser pointer.
He's got a laser pointer. That's a very
Hey,
futuristic
look at
laser
that.
pointer.
Are
Laser-
those sunglasses? Why is he wearing those sunglasses?
He
I
put
know.
them on just a second ago. I don't know
Everything-
why either.
Everything about the scene is ridiculous.
And this guy.
So, I've never really thought about this before. 3 of the 5 men in this room are in on the conspiracy.
Yeah.
Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Or is that guy also?
Bill, or whatever
Bill?
his name is, not.
Yeah. Is he
Bill
not?
is
He's not. Okay.
Yeah.
And the president of the Federation's not.
Yeah. And
Hey,
Sarah.
Sarek.
hey, Brandon, you know what? Yes, naturally. I said it fine. I guess Sarek's there too.
Yeah.
Hey, Brandon.
Yes, Ken.
You know what the species of the president of the Federation is?
I thought we never knew that.
It's the president.
Yeah.
The
It's-
presidential
that's-
species.
Yeah.
Species.
Because don't we have 2 presidents of the Federation that look like that guy?
Just that guy.
And then there's another guy with
another guy that looks like him appears as the helm officer or whatever of the Saratoga in Star Trek 4.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
And then didn't we comment about how he looked like the president of the Federation?
Yes.
I think he's supposed to be the same species, probably.
Yeah.
Do they
When that
all
door
have
opened to
those
the
really
office-
long handlebar
Yeah,
mustaches?
they all have that. When that door opened, you could
That-
see the Enterprise
Jump
D
off in, like, 4 places.
corridor.
Say that again.
You could see the Enterprise D corridor when the door opened to his office.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that pad he's holding. That's pretty cool.
That's clear. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's cool. It lights up.
That feels
Wow.
more futuristic than what we get
What we
later.
got. Yes.
Why aren't we
That's pretty
carrying that
cool.
all the time?
Why don't we have that? Why
Too
didn't they?
bad.
It's a great line. I mean,
I can't see through
Too
these. I
bad.
just realized.
Why
I
was I-
can't see.
why was I
a damn
wearing
thing.
these? I know
was
they
getting ready
look
for
cool,
solar
but-
eclipse.
Don't look directly in the sun.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
My Mylar glasses here. He's got a grand piano in his office. Okay, he is getting a little extravagant.
It's a little extravagant.
A little gaudy.
What you don't know is
Yeah.
that those glasses also see in infrared and 3D and X-ray.
Right. It's like Fraser Crane made the directed or decorated this place.
I just watched the episode of Frasier where Alan Tudyk recreates his apartment. Like he gets obsessed with Frasier's
Yes.
apartment and he makes the
He
exact
makes
same
the exact same
apartment,
thing.
like a
Floor
floor
below or
below
whatever,
him,
yeah.
and then Frasier keeps trying to change
Change
his
it up.
decor in his apartment, but he realizes that he only has like the one design that's any good.
Right.
So we're talking about
Oh,
this
he's got
now.
paper, too.
That is also you want to talk about
there's
paper?
more vinyl.
We'll talk about this later. This is but the point is it's not
No,
on
I
a
know,
monitor.
I know.
Here. Later on, we're gonna do the stupid thing where we look up Klingon in
Oh,
books.
the book thing, of course. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
But I
about
forgot that it was already dumb. So, I love Christopher Plummer as Chang. He's a lot of fun to watch. He's got
Right.
plenty of presence. He's wonderfully menacing. The issue with him is he is about as one-dimensional as the bad guy Klingons the last movie. There's
Well, the whole
not really much to him.
Conspiracy doesn't make any sense. So Klingons and humans hate each other. Therefore, they conspire together so they could continue to go on hating each other.
Well, it's sort of an enemy of my enemy thing, though,
I
right?
guess.
Where they don't. Neither of
But
them
it's not
want
like
the
they're
peace treaty
conspiracy.
to work.
Because they're worried about losing their job for money or something. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I think and this is the problem.
Right.
You're right to question it
Right.
because I think the idea, but it's not brought out to the fore enough. Yeah, that line's great.
It was on the news. I
On the
never
news. It
knew
was
Did
on
you
the
that
see,
news.
line.
Did you see the wall when she hit it with her butt
Uh-huh.
sliding down that pole? It was like boom.
Yeah, and the pole shook too.
Yeah.
And here's Klingons have no tier decks. So, I think maybe the idea, and I might be reading too much into this because there's not enough
Yeah.
in the film to really give us this. Maybe I thought the idea was maybe just supposed to be that both the Klingons and the people in the Federation that conspire together
Yeah.
just don't want their way of life to be altered.
Right. So they're like, let's get But it's weird that they would
And
even
Kirk
talk
is
to each
supposed
other
to be
in
the
first
embodiment
place.
of that,
Right.
the embodiment of that to some degree, where he doesn't want status quo to change because he hates the Klingons.
But maybe the Romulan was the ringleader, and he was like the intermediary between the Klingons and the humans and stuff, and got them all like. You can keep
Well,
working
and
like,
that's the thing we really like to do with the Romulans and the Klingons, where it's
Right.
like, oh man, the Klingons are bad, but look, the Romulans are worse.
Yeah. Kirk.
And of course, Klingons don't tend to conspire until.
There's that thing on his back that they don't bother to take off. It's
or at least
right there.
Or at least the Klingons like to talk a big game about being
Right.
honorable and straightforward, and yeah,
It's your favorite thing.
yeah, it's my favorite thing. And like they're all about honorable combat, but they're not deceptive. But when they really don't like, when some of them really don't like how things are going and they want to change something, they of course will get manipulative, and
Right.
you do have. I think a lot of the time in Star Trek, especially in TNG, we like to play the Klingon Empire like it's unsustainable,
Right.
and like it's gonna have corruption in it. So he's got a giant sombrero,
That's cool.
and he lost his arm and still has his arm missing.
He's an armless Klingon.
But
That's
you can
great.
kind of see his shirt kind of bulking up there on the side.
That's true.
It's pretty bad.
If I may say,
Colonel Worf.
that was a really cool way that they transitioned from the Klingon into English for the shot, where they had him speaking Klingon, then the voice overlay of the translator, and then
They kind
they
of
cut to
copied that
him.
from the Hunt for October. They do that when they go from Russian to English and that.
You know, an Englishman playing a Russian,
Yeah.
as you know they do.
If I could buy one on-screen prop from Star Trek, it would
Gavel.
probably be the gavel.
Yeah.
I love the gavel so much. They bring it back in episode of Enterprise in season 2,
Cool.
and they basically just do this again with Archer.
I got left.
It's not, Brandon, it's not horrible, but they kind of just use it as an excuse to bank on like iconography and stuff from this movie, because they do a trial, and it's the ancestor of Duras.
Yeah.
They do a
it
trial with Archer, and then he gets sent to Rurapente.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the
All
exact,
right.
yeah,
It's the exact
like
same thing.
as this.
Gotcha.
Worf.
Oh, here we go.
And if that was what they usually did, fine. But
Right.
like, this is a commuted sentence.
I know.
It was supposed to be death, and then they go
Yeah.
to Rurapente.
They commuted it too.
90.
Yo.
Yeah, you
In the
figure.
interest of diplomatic relations, we will send him to die slowly in the gulag.
You figure 98% of the time, it's probably death.
Right.
So what are the odds that Archer and they hate,
Archer
and they
does it
hate
again.
Archer?
Right, they hate Archer. Right.
So let me ask this: Does this how does this movie stack up to others in the amount of people that made their first of many Star Trek appearances in this movie?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Because it seems like there's a lot more than we usually get.
Like who?
Like Kurtwood Smith, Michael Dorn.
Michael Dorn.
Michael Dorn is
the
in
Next
TNG
Generation
already.
one.
So
Oh, it's
this
already
is,
on the
was
air.
like-
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
Okay.
I wondered if that's where you're going with that. But we were just talking about it. So we're
forgot
about
this
to
is
go into
91.
we're about to go into 5th season,
Right.
Right.
or we're in the middle of 5th season,
Right.
right?
When it comes out, yeah.
When it comes out, yeah. So the Colonel Worf thing is just them doing a cute
It's like
tie-in
walkie-talkies.
where they're like, well, you know, let's kind of appease the TNG viewers a little bit,
Right.
and
It's kind
let's
of a-
have
We're past,
some.
yeah.
Let's have some recognizable stuff,
continuity.
so that yes.
Yes.
retroactively, we can give you a sense of things to come, and
We're
it's like so.
moving towards this period, yeah.
Yeah, but again, we already know some stuff about Klingons, and we haven't had a situation yet where we had a Klingon who just keeps passing the same family name down. It's always Worf, son of Moog. It's always somebody,
Yeah,
son
I
of
know,
somebody else.
yeah.
So here's what ends up happening: you get Worf, and then you get Moog, and then
Worf
Moog
again.
names Worf after, I guess, his dad named Worf.
But yeah, you never understand why the Klingon houses are called this. Why is Worf's house so called the House of Moog, but Martok's house is called the House of Martok?
No
It
idea.
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, nobody knows why the
Nobody
houses
knows.
are called that way. And then, presumably, same thing with Duras.
Right.
You got Duras. Oh no, we know that because Duras's father was
Right.
like, what, Korvath or something? I used to know that, but it's
Yeah, the House of Duras. Yes,
Yeah.
that's another thing.
but again, in Enterprise
Yes.
we had a Duras.
Yes.
And then he had a son named something else, and then he had a
Right.
son named Duras.
Right.
Is this the one where Tim Russ was on the bridge too of the Excelsior?
No,
Yeah,
that's
Generations.
That's Generations. That's
That's
not Excelsior.
Generation,
That's
okay.
Enterprise B, which is
Okay.
an
It's the
Excelsior
exact
ship.
same.
It's Excelsior class.
Yeah,
That's what was confusing me. That's where I was headed ultimately with the thing, and that's what was confusing me here. So
So yes, there are a lot of actors here that are repeat Star Trek actors,
Yes.
but most of them have
done
not only
something
already done Star Trek, but are reprising roles.
Sure.
Like, we talked about Cartwright. He's been in here already. And then he'll be he'll be Sisko's dad later.
Christopher Plummer is
Now that's-
really enjoying this scene.
Yeah.
Now, this is a quote from UN Ambassador Adlai Stevenson during the Cuban Missile Crisis. He says it to the Russians. Don't wait for the translation. Answer me
That's
now.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yes.
So does that bug you that they pull so much like real life stuff like that?
I mean, maybe a little
Is
bit.
it too on the nose?
Why? What bugs me is why didn't they take that thing off his back? His tracking device. It's right there.
Oh, I never noticed that. You can see it.
Every set. Every shot you can see
Wait a
it.
minute.
Yeah.
I thought it was
Seriously?
under his shirt.
No, it's right there.
I thought it
Spock
was
just
under his
slaps
shirt.
it on.
But we were supposed. Well, yeah, and I guess it's not like he went up under a shirt.
No,
I never
he just
thought about
slapped it
how
on.
did
It's
Spock put
literally right there.
put the device on. Oh, that's so dumb.
Why don't they take it off? There it is.
They should at least
That's
be
it?
like.
It's huge.
Gee, I wonder what that is. Adam, I never noticed that. Not in probably 15 viewings of this movie.
Wow.
You will answer. I just love his head nodding up and
Why
down.
did they give him prison uniforms too? They let him wear their Starfleet uniforms when they went to prison.
Yeah, and that's why the thing stayed with him then?
Yeah.
So wait a minute. You guys bear with me for a minute. So you're telling me, we have peace between the Federation and the Klingon Empire because the Klingons were too dumb to make Kirk change his clothes and because they didn't notice he had a tracking device on his back.
Yeah. A tracking device
They're
the size of a flash drive.
Like, he should go to Repente and then he should die and then the movie should be over.
Right.
Yeah.
They
Oh
shouldn't have
my
been able to get
God,
out,
you
and
guys.
They shouldn't have been able to find him.
And my wife has never noticed that before.
Yes.
And when I tell her that, see, I told you this movie's dumb. That's what she's gonna say. Now, I'm not saying this movie is dumb. I like a lot of things about this
Right.
movie, of course. Overall, I think it holds up pretty well.
Right.
But that's pretty glaring, dude.
Right.
Oh, I never noticed that. Okay.
They give him furs and crap to wear, but they don't give them, just bother to make them change their clothes into an orange jumpsuit. You know what I mean?
Dude, you'd think that they'd make him change clothes already before we
I
get
know,
here.
before he's even here. Now, maybe as like a thing of honor, they let him wear his military uniform during this trial or something like that. That might be.
No, I could see that, but you'd think
like
that
during a court martial, they let you do that.
you think
kind
that
of
he'd
thing,
have had to
but-
take it off by now.
But at this point, yeah. But at least by the time they go to prison,
Wow. So I don't know what that writing is. That doesn't look like
It's
Klingon writing to
blah.
me. Yeah. Repente.
Is that spelled correctly?
Yeah.
Okay.
This guy's
Look
great.
at that hat. Bang.
Brand, are you commenting on the subtitles again?
Bang.
Huh? I just wondered if that
They
was
should make
how it was
walkie-talkies like
spelled
that.
right.
They should make
Why didn't they do
walkie-talkies like that.
that?
Yeah. Well, this was another one of those movies that didn't get very much merchandising.
Yeah. The aliens graveyard.
I think I got some, but like we were very well into the Playmates line by now.
Right.
There should have been more stuff.
Yeah,
for this movie
I'm
than
pretty
there
sure
was.
they were all about TNG at that point, making Playmate stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't do a lot of other things until they stopped doing the regular series ones, and
right.
they just
Until they
just
started
doing a line where
being
they did
like,
everybody,
okay,
or just
we need to. We're
random
running out of crap
characters
to
from.
make. Let's go back
And
and
also
make
just
some stuff
things
from
we
the
never
old
got
movies.
to,
Right.
and stuff from TOS and stuff. I mean, I've got a Trelane figure and a Mugatu figure.
Right, and they did that. I think they did that after they had done their first couple of series of TNG action.
That's right.
figures. Yeah.
That's right.
Yes, in the Andorian with the boa.
Yes,
Feather boa.
I've got that. The pink feather
pink
boa.
feather boa.
Unfortunately, Playmates ends up losing the license because of some major mistakes they made before they can finish DS9 and Voyager.
Yes. Playmates made the Sequest line of action.
They did.
figures, too, and I wish I still had them. I had them all, and I got rid
Oh,
of
did you really?
them. Yeah.
I'm gonna file that away.
They named their ship like we named the president's airplane.
Yeah, I mean, it's really on the nose, yeah. And then again, we quit doing that in TNG, because you remember?
Yes, it has a normal Klingon name.
It's the Mortas.
Yeah.
That's Gowron's ship. Although I'm not convinced that Gowron's not just flying around in whatever ship he had before he became Chancellor.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems like there's a lot, like I said earlier, it seems like there's a lot less, like pomp and circumstance.
Why isn't Scotty wearing his rank? He's got like a space for it on his vest there, but there's nothing there.
I don't know, don't we do that a lot, though, with engineers?
I don't know.
Maybe
He'd wear
not.
it when he used to wear that button-up jacket.
Well, no, I mean, maybe more with doctors. Now that you say that, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean,
well,
the other
all
series...
the doctors wear their
they all
ranks,
have
except
pips.
for...
And the engineers all have their pips, too. I don't
The
know
only
what
one
I'm
who
talking
doesn't have pips is the Doctor from Voyager,
Right.
because he doesn't really have a
Because he doesn't have a rank.
Don't sit on that. You're gonna break it.
Have you ever thought about that? That's why the Doctor and Seven of Nine should have been soulmates, because
know.
they didn't have a rank.
Right.
That's why they were made to be with each
Until he
other.
has the ECH. Boop, 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 boop.
Yeah, but that's programmed. That doesn't
I
count.
love that.
That doesn't count. She also gets to be bridge crew just because she knows more than everybody else.
Yes.
If you were a former Borg, you get to work.
Is he?
You get to be in the magic meeting room with Brandon's favorite meeting table.
Yeah, Sherlock.
You can give that one a rest.
Nope, not gonna happen.
That's what they're looking for.
We're playing this
That's
investigation like it's more interesting than it is.
Certainly.
I mean, I've always thought that.
Right. So they filmed this, like, when they're actually out on the glacier in Alaska.
Oh, really?
But this part, I think, was on a soundstage.
Yeah.
Is that a
I
corn
don't know, I think
dog?
they put, like, a weird purple haze around.
It may not be a Klingon dog, but it's clearly an alien dog.
Yeah,
it might be
It's an Arctic
native
tar.
to
Oh,
that.
it might be.
It's a husky.
It's a
It's a husky
Rapentian
tar.
dog.
Yeah. That guy's got a cool thing. Did you see what he had on his face? It was like it was the thing from Star
They
Wars.
found the North Pole. It's Santa's workshop.
Adam brings really insightful commentary to our commentaries. Look at that cool thing on his face.
I love this. They bring a box out for this guy to stand on. And this is, of course,
Stand on this box. You're gonna die.
W. Morgan Shepherd, who appears in many, many things. Ira Graves.
That is Ira Graves.
Yeah.
Wow.
And many things.
And-
the
and-
Soul Hunter in Babylon
And of course,
5.
he's already played that by now.
Oh, yeah.
Ira Graves, not the Soul Hunter.
No. No, he hadn't played the Soul Hunter yet. No.
Well, Bab 5 doesn't start
Start
until
till
93.
93,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody's played anything from Babylon 5 yet.
No.
This guy's having a bad day.
Yeah, the fake snow
Right.
isn't helping.
Work
I'm
well,
in
and you will be
cornflakes.
treated not like that.
This guy's been stationed here for too long. That soapbox.
That means
that's
get
pretty
inside.
Yeah, Brandon, when he when he started this job,
That poor dog. That's a real animal. They put him under crap on. That poor thing.
when that guy started this job, he used to look at cue cards when he gave that speech, but he's done it so many times,
got
he's got
it
it
now.
memorized
He just
now.
He
memorized
always brings
it.
a guy out to kill whenever somebody's coming.
Every time.
Just
That
to
guy didn't even
show.
do anything wrong.
He
He
didn't do
is
anything
making
wrong.
up crap when he
They're
says,
just-
work well and you will be treated. Work well and you will not be thrown into the frozen cornflakes.
Yes.
The frozen
Pop.
cornflakes.
Because, yeah, this is the you got a little Star Wars cantina scene going on here.
This
with
is
some of these aliens.
absolutely ripping off Star Wars.
Yeah.
I've always thought that. This is the stuff that sticks with me most from when I was a kid for whatever reason.
There's a cool guy that goes.
Now, I say it's ripping that off. Like, aesthetically, very much so, and maybe even to some degree, the
Yeah.
situation, this feels like a
Yeah,
Star
that guy.
Wars thing.
That's what he does.
Yep.
I don't know. I remember that.
But and look at his eyes, they're crazy.
Isn't that cool?
But this also feels like one of the most TOS things we do in the movie.
It does. Because they had some goofy aliens.
Big forehead.
Well, not
alien.
just that, but also just like Kirk got imprisoned a lot in TOS.
Yeah.
There were a lot of breakouts.
That's William Shatner right there. Oh my god.
Yeah, that was great. I want to think that's the first time Shatner saw that guy in that makeup.
The universal translator's been confiscated.
No one can see what you're doing.
He wants his coat, doesn't he?
Yeah, and it's not like it's gonna fit.
Yeah.
Yes. Iman. She's David Bowie's wife, Brandon.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I don't think she acted a lot.
No, she didn't.
I don't think
She was a
worked lot.
model.
Okay. She's not bad though.
And she was from Somalia.
I mean, I always liked her in this. Like it's a weird character. It's a weird choice, but
Yeah.
I think she gives a decent performance. Yeah. I saw an interview with her once from when this was coming out, and she seemed to be really excited to be in this movie.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I always thought she was like female Arnold Schwarzenegger. She has like an Arnold Schwarzenegger accent.
Oh yeah, and I remember this from seeing this when I was a kid. The part I did not understand why she was that, and then she was a giant weird looking guy, and then she was a little
she's
girl.
a shapeshifter.
And what's going on? I was like, what is happening?
Well, just pay attention. There's an exposition.
I mean, I
about
was
it.
like 3.
Oh, okay. Okay, it's like, what is going on?
I didn't understand.
It's like, and now she's a little girl, and now she's William
I understood
Shatner.
it later.
Why
when I
is she
saw it when
William
I was, like,
Shatner now?
7, you know, but when I first saw it with my parents, they
You can see how you were talking earlier
they
about
got the
how
grease
how
stains on the above
dusted
the
up
stove
the
there.
ship
Yeah.
is. Yeah,
weird.
and you can really see it.
It looks like they're just throwing flour everywhere.
Uh-huh.
We don't kill food animals. And kick that one right on the table there.
So this is another one of those moments
Oh,
where
they got one of those
Chekhov
giant
is an
whips.
idiot
I know.
Yeah,
because Chekhov didn't think about what happens when you shoot a phaser, and isn't he, wait for it, the phaser guy?
Yeah, he's a
Look,
security dude.
He's the security guy!
they're in the kitchen. Why
Or at
are
least-
those banks of
yeah,
computers
what are
there?
those things?
I don't know. You need supercomputers
To
to
run
run
the
the
recipes.
kitchen.
She just turns the
No,
alarm
they
off
look like
from that
70s
computer.
supercomputers.
I know,
They look like they're gonna fly a helicopter.
Or the Apollo mission, at least. Like we got NASA's.
Yeah, what are you doing down here?
Like you can stand down.
At least they're not wearing the helmets.
He just patted
Yeah.
the security guy on the back. That was hilarious.
Is there maybe
There's TNT
a
set.
is there maybe a holdover humor problem going on in this movie to some degree with a couple of things where it's like 4 was funny and it was really popular.
They gotta
5 was
try
too
to
much of a
keep some-
comedy.
Right, but they still want to have some of that humor.
Yeah, and so they're forcing it in a
A
little,
little bit.
It's not horrible,
Take
and,
weeks.
and there's some natural humor in this movie too.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, but I think this kind of sitcom-y, everybody showing up because somebody
Right.
fired a phaser
Right.
after Chekhov was too stupid to remember that you can't do that, and
Right.
he's a weapons expert. Yeah,
Right.
that's all dumb.
Right.
Hey Brandon, I'm sorry, buddy, but that's all dumb.
Yeah,
So,
I'm with you. Oh, look at that turkey.
yeah, I know. That's why
yeah.
I said they don't enslave
It's
animals
gonna
for
be-
food
Oh,
sources
that's why you
anymore,
said
but-
that. I
but-
missed it
but
the
yeah,
first
there's
time.
I
a-
didn't know why you were talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So has this occurred to you? That guy's a Jim Hadar before a Jim
Yes,
Hadar.
Yeah,
no, absolutely.
He's got a giant Jim Hadar head.
So is that red part of his face a scar, or is that part of his face?
I don't know. I think it's supposed to be a scar.
Would you like it if people asked you if that was a part of your face?
Is that part of your face? Wait, what?
Ah.
Wait, was there a red thing or was it just the lighting?
No, there's a red thing on his
Okay,
face. Okay. That guy.
Wait, Brandon's right. He likes his job too much.
No.
I love my job.
Or did you say
I
he was
come
there
to
too
work
long?
every
He's
day.
very
with a
well both.
smile.
He was there too long. He requested this post
So-
after years of service.
So you know how they made action figures of everything?
Did they make
Yeah.
him
We did
him?
not get an action figure of this
Damn.
guy, and I wish we did. I don't think we did.
Oh, you're right. It's a red
it
stripe.
looks like war paint or something before it's anything, or maybe that's just what he looks like.
Boom.
Oh.
Yeah. Whoa.
This is really weird. This part.
Yeah, what's weird about it, or one of the things that's weird about it, is that he's supposed to have his genitals in his knee,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and that's the
It's
one place
unprotected.
where he got a rip in his pants.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were showing the.
Like, that is bad cosmic design, right there. You know,
Right.
that is poor evolutionary whatever.
Right. That.
That is also a shot that made me think that she's kind of the female Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Right.
where she's got the big
Where
stogie.
she's the
Yeah.
stogie and her the big pearly whites while she's smoking the stogie.
Yeah,
The one.
wouldn't that be amazing? Yeah, he's not Neo. Wouldn't that be amazing if she like one of her shape shifting things was Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Arnold
where he
Schwarzenegger.
just shows up for a
He could
cameo.
have been in this. That would have been awesome.
That would have been amazing.
So he's bloodied at the nose, still wearing his uniform. It's getting dirty, by the way. You have to recycle that a few times.
That thing that Spock put on his back must cling really well and just never come off.
Yeah.
Well, it's got like Velcro
They
hooks
call
on
it
his
the
velour
Viridium
suit.
Pack, I think is what they call it.
Wouldn't that be some sort of radiation?
I have no idea.
They're talking really loud.
Yeah, everything.
That's
Shut
true.
the hell up.
Yeah, wouldn't
We have
somebody
to
in this
mine
cave be like,
dilithium from-
"Shut up! I'm
Yeah.
sleeping."
These
Mine
aliens are like,
dilithium
"Go
at
to
4 in the
sleep."
morning.
They give us 3 hours of sleep every night.
The echoes. They terrified me.
I might be wrong about this. I think this is the first time Kobayashi Maru is mentioned again since 2, because this is Meyer writing the script, so
Yeah, probably.
I don't immediately remember another place where it's mentioned.
I think you're
Maybe
right.
not even in a series. I mean, maybe not even in TNG.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Did he get a new coat? I feel like that's a different coat than he started with.
No, it's the same clothes.
How long have they been here?
Oh,
I
months.
don't know.
Because he's already got quite a bit of stubble. I don't know how long
Yeah.
they've been here.
Well, of course, he might not have been able to shit. Well, he didn't have stubble at the court case. Yeah, so I don't know.
No, he wouldn't. He probably
It's
wouldn't
probably
be able to
just a
shave.
couple
I'm just not
days.
sure how long
Right.
they've been here. Yeah. And that's all it would take, but it sort of feels like they've been here all of like 5 hours.
Right? And it feels like they just got in. This is
Sounds
their,
like a
like their
game.
first night there.
Yeah.
Of course,
They got
it's
a rock
possible
in
that
case somebody
maybe
attacks him.
it's possible that he grew this stubble while he was in wait to transfer to Rurapente.
I do really like this thing with Martia where Bones makes fun of the fact that Kirk is like
Right.
always sleeping with the hot women because
Right.
he hasn't done that in these
I
movies
know.
at
At
all.
all.
Like it's still of course a thing that character is really well known for. It's one of the big iconic things.
Right.
And we've never done it in these movies.
Right. I mean, the closest they came was
Just the fact that he
Jillian
had a kid out of-
Taylor and Star Trek 4. He had a little romance
and
with
just
her.
the fact that he had a kid he didn't know
Right,
about.
right.
That's-
That was more. Yeah, that was
That's
him,
a very promiscuous. You're sleeping with
him
everybody thing. but-
facing the consequences of his actions years
Right.
later.
Yeah. What is it with you?
Bones.
I mean, like 30 minutes from now.
Well, can you just leave? Because we only get like 3 hours to sleep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I love that line.
What?
This is
Oh, Christian
weird.
Slater. Because his
Oh
mom,
yeah, I forgot about that.
his mom was casting director.
Is that why?
Yes, Mary Jo Slater.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Why do you know things like that?
I don't know.
Hey, yeah, why do you know that? Yeah, that is an insanely young Christian Slater.
Why do I always feel like Slater was the one who appeared in the doorway? Nobody appears in the doorway for the other captain when they're testing the transwarp drive. I don't know why. I
No,
always,
they call him.
yeah,
He's
I
filing
don't know
his
why I
nails,
always
so
see
they
in my
call
head
him.
that Christian Slater shows up for him, not Sulu.
Right.
But I do remember that Slater's in.
I mean, it's both the Excelsior.
Yeah, that's true.
Why would you want that bucket of bolts? Oh, you're going to be the captain. Sorry, I said that. I really apologize.
Well, maybe
That
they
was-
tore out all that transwarp crap and now it runs good, you know?
Yeah, maybe if the engine
I
breaks
mean,
down, it doesn't.
It was
doesn't
a
make
good
sputtering
design, but they're
noises.
still using it in TNG and Deep Space Nine. and
Excelsior
stuff.
stays around
Okay.
forever.
That makes no sense. Why did that thing, shine the light on his eye?
We don't mothball Excelsior because it's just too cool looking.
Yeah.
It's just we have such a great.
Oh,
looking
I love
design.
the
Oh, look at this,
Excelsior
look at this.
class.
This is the six bag from.
It's not like we kept like Miranda and stuff. Miranda. No,
They
what am I
kept
thinking?
Miranda. It's
Miranda's
in that
around
big
later.
battle and stuff
Mhm.
with
Oh, are we
Deep
talking about?
Wolf 359.
no,
Is that
in
Reliant?
Deep Space Nine.
Is that Reliant? Am I right about that?
The Saratoga is a Miranda class. At
Saratoga, okay.
135.9.
Okay.
And then
I was thinking, do we still have Reliant-like ships?
yeah, that's Miranda class.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
Yeah.
So I am right with that? Okay.
That's Miranda class.
Oh, you're just saying that the Miranda class one in that is Saratoga. I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. You had me doubting my ship
Yeah.
types for a
Yeah,
second.
they're still around.
Metal
Not that I know
detector.
of.
And
but
the
that's
little
what I know.
the
Yeah,
little
look at
science.
that! Look at a space metal
I
detector.
know he's going
Inside
looking
a
for
metal
coins.
enclosed.
Yeah,
corridor.
what is he looking for?
Wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah,
doesn't.
we're looking for metal that's
Also,
different than this kind of
weren't
metal.
okay, those uniforms those guys are wearing, I thought those were supposed to be the cadet uniforms. So that guy looks like he's 50 years old. Are they supposed to be the enlisted
He
crew?
just got into Starfleet. It's his second career.
Maybe they're the enlisted crew uniforms as well. I don't know. You know?
It's a second career.
Why does Valeris mug for the camera right then?
He's blowing
She's
his
smug,
shofar.
like, we found it.
So, this
I
is
gotta be
something
safe here.
So I
Don't
wanted to
blow
ask
it.
you guys this earlier. I want to make sure that we talk about this in case I forget to bring it up later.
Yes.
When more stuff starts happening, we got to talk about it.
Uh-huh.
How do you guys feel about Kirk and his "I hate Klingon" speech?
Oh yeah, I
Because
mean,
some people are think that comes a little bit out of nowhere, and that we use David just as a justification for it. Where it was like he's gone up against Klingons a lot, but you never
Right.
got the sense that
I feel like that he
was
wasn't
like
holding
angry,
the grudge.
racist.
I mean, he literally tries to save Krug's life with "Give me your hand."
Right.
The man who
That's
actually
true.
ordered his son to be killed. So, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, there's a lack of
Maybe
trust
a-
of
maybe a
Klingons
while-
as a whole in the government and
Right,
stuff.
right.
You know, you've got what is it, Day of the Dove?
Right.
I mean, like you know, there
I
are.
mean, maybe he had wild marinade on it. It made him
I-
pissed. I don't know, but
It tracks all right
Yeah.
for me, and that's
Well,
just
well.
because he has a moment of reflection while on Repente.
So
and
that's crewman Dax, but that's not. But he
Right.
does not have the Dax symbiote.
right.
He definitely does not have the Dax symbiote.
Not
I'm sorry, what
a
Brandon?
Dax symbiote,
No, I-
a symbiote, or symbiote.
symbiote. Shut up,
Actually,
Adam.
no. Okay, so for Venom, it's apparently either symbiote or symbiote.
Yeah.
In DS9, it is symbiont
Symbiote. The Dax
with an N.
symbiote.
Symbiont. Yeah.
Hmm.
I like that they gave him safety glasses.
Anyway, what were you saying?
Kirk has a moment of reflection on, you know, this. I think it's a big moment for Kirk, just as a growth moment, because he comes to this realization that, you know, granted, Kirk has always been kind of the, well, not always, but a lot of times he's the bigger man. You know, that's why he tried to save him. You know, even though he just killed his son, but he has this moment to realize that what if they were being serious? And maybe we really can do this even amidst all this sabotage. I think it works.
No, but what I'm talking about is the speech he gives where he says he hates Klingons and he always has.
Right.
I just don't know if I buy
Never
that. He
changed.
never
Oh.
seemed like he
I
hated
never
the whole
will.
species before.
Right.
Hmm.
These are the worst guards. They suck.
I don't know. I might buy it.
So-
He's had a severe distrust.
I don't
of
know
them.
if it's but I think that's one of the things that my wife really hates about this,
Mhm.
and she also really dislikes the thing with Picard in First Contact, where he hates the Borg as hard as he does,
Now,
and it's kind of a similar thing,
we'll talk
right?
about that later, but
Yeah.
I combine that a little more because at least in First Contact, that he could be going through like some PTSD, and it's the
Yeah.
first time that he's faced a full-on incursion of the Borg,
Yeah.
and the Borg trying to take over his ship and stuff again. I mean, because before
But
that,
it's but it's a revenge thing. It's you did this to me, and he's had a chance to take them out over that and
Right.
didn't take it.
right.
like,
I can
once-
see the revenge thing. I mean, yeah, that part of it. But I mean,
I'm just saying the revenge thing is the problem with that,
but
and
maybe
this
it
also
triggered
seems like
him. I don't know,
like that
you know?
kinda-
PTSD works in strange ways and stuff. I don't.
that's
know.
I get that, but I don't know if they earned it. That sounds like a justification before it's a reason.
Maybe.
Oh, look, they're climbing Everest.
I'm just saying I used to not be with her on that. And the more I've seen that
Right.
movie, the more I've come to her side on it.
Right.
I wonder why these
I can
people.
see that.
I
Right.
actually
freaking
have
out.
almost less of a problem with it in this movie.
Right.
Almost, but I still question it. I
Right.
don't know. Hey, Adam,
Yeah.
why are we going out? I mean, I know there
Now
isn't
this-
the movie, but I'm just
yeah.
gonna make a joke. Why are we going out in like 50 below weather? Because we can.
This is there.
Because it's there. Because it's there. I ruined my joke. I'm glad you got where I was going.
Purple glacier.
It's Purple Mountain's majesty.
Yes. I wonder if this is really William Shatner. Probably not.
They had a stunt double do his ice walking scenes.
Look at that.
That's not Shatner.
They did.
That's just some guy.
It's just
hot.
some
They're on
guy.
hot.
Look at that.
That's neither of them.
Yeah, this is the part they filmed in Alaska.
Yeah, they didn't take Shatner
Greenland
to
or
Alaska.
something.
They just
I
had
don't know.
people in coats.
Maybe they hired some locals.
They had a really hard time finding a place on Earth that was this purple, though. It was hard. It was
Yeah, this
difficult.
white balance.
You know, I
is
never
weird.
noticed how purple it was until the
I don't think it's a white
DVD.
balance thing. I think it's an intentional
You know,
filter
they
they put on
intentionally
it.
trying to make because of the atmosphere. And
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh,
Like,
really?
it's an
Yeah.
alien planet.
All right.
But I never noticed it until the DVD. Like,
Wait,
on
is it because of the
VHS.
shield? Is it because of the heat shield?
No, because I think they show it later.
Or is it, or whatever it is? It's not a heat shield, but the shield.
I don't think so. I think it's just supposed to be like a weird alien atmosphere.
I seem to think
It could
that that if the magnetic shield prevents beaming, shouldn't it also prevent scanning?
I
at
don't
all.
know. Who knows?
We can
It's
still
all
see them.
BS. There's no consistency.
Yeah, but that's an easy cop out for any
Right.
criticism we might want to make of a
Right.
thing that is otherwise consistent. Adam.
That's
Like,
true.
don't fall into
It is
that
all
trap.
BS.
Don't fall into that trap. I agree with you in this case. Sorry, Brandon, but like, don't fall into that trap.
Right.
I just don't think it entirely
Okay,
works.
That might actually have been DeForest Kelly there's mouth. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah, but that wasn't necessarily in Alaska.
Nah.
That was shot
Like-
close enough. That could have still been a
That could have been a
soundstage.
soundstage.
I think. Heck if I know.
Purple.
Whoosh!
Now this is crazy that they could just waltz into Klingon space and not get caught.
That's a good point. Yeah.
They just waltz in. You know, couldn't they detect what kind of ship it was?
Yeah, you would think that they'd be
Why
able
don't
to-
they know what it is?
So I learned a Klingon
like a
word
keg of
in
beer
this
back
scene. Reen.
Yes.
Reen. Dus. Udos. Reen.
Right.
At the very least, it's not giving out a call sign that their
Right.
ships would.
So we talked about this earlier, but this is going to be another place where we force the comedy really hard.
Yeah.
Where did they get all these books?
And
They're
why
ancient.
are they books?
They're
Why isn't
ancient
it
books.
digitized?
Why don't
Yeah.
they just have stuff in
These are,
there?
these are Klingon dictionaries from the 22nd century.
They're ancient Klingon dictionaries.
We on thy Fraser Oskava.
Yeah, and also, man, this is dumb. I have way too much to say about the scene. So first of all, nobody explained to Uhura how to like repeat other people's dialogue, and she's a linguist,
Yeah,
or
how
at
come
least
she
she's a
doesn't know how to
communications
speak?
person.
I mean, I
Like,
feel like she would have some kind of.
it's okay if
linguistic
she doesn't know
skill.
how to speak the language, but she's hearing him say "rin"
Right.
and she's saying "ren."
Right.
What?
Things and supplies. I do like that.
Yeah, no, that's
Things
great.
and supplies.
Can we also point out that her inflection would be terribly off?
Right.
There's no way a Klingon speaking Klingon's gonna fall for this, right? Like these
Well, they're
guys
pretty-
must be the
they're
drunkest
pretty drunk.
Klingons on
Yeah,
the,
yeah,
in the
I don't know.
in the Klingon structure.
Well, what I don't get is
Like he's got rose
it's not like
there.
we're so early in the history of Star Trek that we wouldn't be able to do what we usually do with the 24th century, which is
Right.
we use the universal translator and they're hearing Klingon,
Right.
and we're just speaking English.
Right.
Why aren't we doing
I don't know why
that?
it couldn't be. They said because he said
Did they say that?
we must
I can't
respond
remember.
personally, otherwise the universal translator would be recognized. I don't understand
Okay,
that.
so that's a throwaway line because we do that all the time.
right. I don't understand it. Yeah.
Particularly with DS9 and Cardassians.
Maybe
We do
the
it all the
I
time.
know.
Maybe the universal translator has a particular monotone sound to whoever's hearing it on the other end.
But again, that means, and also if you put it in the whole history, and I realize Enterprise gets stuff wrong all the time, but that means that the universal translator in Enterprise was more sophisticated than it is here.
Right.
Because we
Well-
do it, get this, in Enterprise
Right.
with Insectoid Zindi, okay?
Okay.
Where you've got Hoshi speaking English,
Right.
and it's coming out.
Right. Well, to be
Can you do
fair,
that again?
what Brandon said might be right, because
Yeah.
in motion picture, when the Klingons are talking on the view screen, it sounds like a computer voice.
Yeah.
Like Imperial Klingon cruiser Amar continuing to attack.
Yeah.
So
Okay, but what
maybe
about the
they
fact that we know that we use the universal translator the way we do in TNG, where we'll just speak to somebody on another ship that we've never talked to before,
because
and
it could be like it's 100 years earlier.
they
I
don't
know.
seem to. No, but we do this in TOS too, where like, right? Don't we? Don't we?
They don't-
Isn't this still the explanation for how we can speak to an alien race
Oh, yeah, it
across a
is.
view screen? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So you're saying that
But
they're
we don't
just,
know what it sounds like to the alien race, as far as like how the language sounds.
I don't buy for a minute that it sounds that robotic to anybody.
It's possible. I don't
Like,
know. Yeah.
See, he wants to use his cop-out thing again. He
Right.
wants to say, well, it's all made up anyway, so...
Like, this is classic.
And
They went back to Kirk fighting himself.
This is really
I
classic.
love-
Yeah, we gotta do that.
We gotta
Enemy
do it.
Within. And we kind of make fun of Shatner's ego in the scene a little bit, which is fun.
No, I like it here.
It must have been your
They
lifelong
put in his
ambition.
did she? Is he wearing the contact lenses that she wore and stuff? Like, does he have the same eyes?
Hey, have you ever thought about this? How come she has Martia's voice when she's the little girl, but
Yeah,
she
so
has
that's
Shatner's voice right
She
now?
can fake that.
Why is that, Brandon?
He's wearing, there's one of those glasses.
Why is that, Brandon?
I missed what you said.
How come she had the Martia's voice when she was the little girl, but she has Shatner's voice now that she's Kirk?
Wait, why did he have
maybe
to cock the disruptor?
that's a good question.
Why is that? And is it more... Oh, I guess we did that because if he sounded like a girl, he'd just shoot him.
Right.
But here's
mean-
a question. Is it more or less realistic that a shapeshifter would have its own voice all the time?
Right.
I like that line. Since you're all going to die anyway, I might as well tell you.
Yeah. So now he's just a comic book villain.
No,
Yeah.
he's shooting everybody.
I might as well tell you. He was going to tell us the whole thing.
We should get some blankets like that.
This kind of stuff is still a little Star Trek V to me.
Yeah.
So, can we also address the fact that she shapeshifts and she's wearing his clothes? Are the clothes
she did
part
that.
of the shift?
Yeah, they're part of the shapeshift.
No, she can do that.
Okay.
It's like
It's
an
like
Odo
Odo.
shapeshifter before it's like an Animorph.
It's like
Okay.
Odo. He makes his own clothes and
Yeah.
he shapeshifts.
I want that light.
That just means
fixture.
she's probably gelatinous in the first place, because
You put that
we don't know what her original form
Right.
is. Marty is not her original form.
Who knows what she look like? Yeah.
Like, nobody knows what she actually looks like. Because she says to Kirk, like, she picked that because she wanted to assume a pleasing shape.
Why didn't she? Why didn't they
That's what
like
she
said.
dispose of these better? They just put them in the air vent.
Not only did they put them in the air vent, they literally took apart every console, including that EPS
Yeah,
console.
they were taking apart
Why
everything.
didn't
but
they
everything
find
took
that
room. It was
already?
literally sitting right there.
Yeah.
You could see it with the air vent.
Yeah, why didn't
with
they
the grill
find it?
on the air vent?
Well, I mean, they can't just blow them up because then
Right.
everyone,
when they were
everyone we've
searching
ever
for
heard
it,
of will
right.
show up and be like, "Did somebody fire
Right.
a phaser?"
So they're not
Except
more.
for Chekhov, he won't be surprised, but like that won't bother him at all.
They hear that Kirk escapes Rurapente. How do they not like immediately think that's got to be like, to use a current term, fake news? Because nobody escapes Rurapente, and then all of a sudden Kirk did. Now, of course, they know Kirk, and Kirk can get out of any situation.
But
But I
why would
feel
that
like-
guy lie to them?
Why-
What
yeah.
would his motivation
Yeah.
be?
But
to
I feel
lie
like
to them?
they should question where that information came from ultimately, not necessarily the person who brought it to him.
I don't know.
Oh,
He saw them beam up.
fire
I mean,
extinguisher. Oh, there's the door in the conduits.
Yeah.
Yep, slid right up into the conduits. Oh, what an angle! Look at that leg and that arm. Like classic.
Some no.
Look, that's just how you fall when you get shot by Valeris. Okay.
Right.
I don't think that's always the first rule of assassinations, because sometimes there's like, just people you call that are really professional and they have discretion, and you
Right.
hire them to do a job, and then Nobody would be in that field if everyone always got killed when they were an assassin. That's the first rule of assassinations if you hire a couple of bozos on your ship.
Yeoman Bergensano.
Okay, so we have to ask this question.
It could be any of these people. Oh, look, they're all looking. Who could it be?
So, it's a big deal to serve on the Enterprise. I know it's not flagship like it is in TNG, but it's a big deal to serve on the Enterprise, serve under Kirk, all that. Do you mind that those two bozos are even on the ship? Like,
yeah.
Like,
and how they rose through the ranks.
Should it be that? I mean, they're crewmen, but should it be that easy for Valeris to find a couple of yahoos that are willing to assassinate a Klingon ship? I mean, I guess some people are starting to do things they wouldn't usually do because they don't like that things might be changing, and they don't like the Klingons, they don't like the idea of the Klingons coming into the Federation and changing their way of life, like I talked about earlier. I wish that we explored that idea some.
I mean,
that you'd have people that like essentially live in a utopia, are peaceful, would never think to be involved in a mutiny, let alone like a giant conspiracy. But like it's the Section 31 thing, right? In order to preserve your way of life, you have to go against it. But they should have been professional assassins.
Instead of just these guys. Yeah, it seemed like really like kind of half-ass operation.
Oh, you know what? I just thought of this. Retroactively, when you get to DS9 and we know about Section 31, and of course Enterprise used them also, you've got to wonder where they are right now. You got to wonder why they're not involved in this or trying to stop it or whatever their angle would be.
Certainly. Because they would know.
And obviously you couldn't have done this because that's years later when we come up with that, but like after the fact, just looking back, couldn't this have been a better story if it was Section 31? Like that actually would have been the way to do this, wouldn't it? And you wouldn't need a conspiracy from anybody else.
I just don't know why she has this grudge against Klingons herself. They don't explore that
they don't talk about that at all. We don't know what her motivations are. And like what is logical about it from her perspective.
Well, that's workmanship.
Like, you would think that a Vulcan would be, generally speaking, one of the last people that would be involved in a thing like this. So she, more than anybody, needs motivation. I mean, Vulcans tend to be pretty pacifistic.
An omission.
Now the question is, what would you have had to have done with Saavik to make this make sense with her even also? Because it would have been the last thing you'd expect, and it would have been crushing, potentially. And it could have been great, but something would have had to have happened with her. Right? Or was it supposed to be about David? I think it was supposed to be about David. No, I think it actually was supposed to be about David.
So the deal was they wanted...
I read about that, but it's been a little while.
I heard that they wanted to do... The Saavik thing, they didn't want that Robin Curtis back. They were disappointed with her performance.
Which is weird, because I think she's really good.
They wanted Kirstie Alley back. But by this point, Kirstie Alley was making that Cheers money, and she wasn't going to come back and do this.
Which is kind of a shame, but, you know...
I don't know.
This flashback.
These were added to the DVD.
These were added to the DVD. I don't...
Really?
They were not on the VHS.
And it drives me insane.
It doesn't flow.
Nick Meyer did this. And he also, for some reason, on this DVD, cropped it somewhat. It's not the full aspect ratio.
Really?
Yeah, it was 2.35 to 1 like all the other ones were, but they cropped it down for some reason. I don't know why.
I can't believe he added stuff to this after the fact. That's insane.
It really is. That doesn't flow.
Stop it.
Like still.
Stop it. It's so weird. I mean, it's slowed down footage, but it feels like still... Yeah, it's bad. I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
That was so jarring to me the first time I saw this on DVD.
Yeah.
Because, of course, I'd seen this a lot,
Right.
you know, on VHS, and I was just like, what are we doing? It hit me like a ton of bricks the first time. I was like, wait, they just threw stuff back in. What?
This scene's kind of hard to watch.
And, of course, the bigger issue with it is you're not giving your audience any credit.
Right.
Like, did he think we didn't know who we were talking about?
Right. That's I don't know. Why do they add
I mean, to
that?
be fair, I didn't ever remember the Romulans' names, so
Right.
like maybe I wouldn't have put that together. But like, if you're paying any attention to the story at all, you know who Chang is, and you probably know who Cartwright is,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
and you're gonna see them all at the end. So even if you don't
Right.
get it right now, you're like, oh, those are the people she was talking
Right.
about. Okay. Jeez, don't do that.
Look, he's on everything. It's like they're like in a TV store.
Yeah, what's that about? I like that Kirk gives the exact same line delivery
Right.
to Sulu that he just gave to Valeris. Where is the peace conference?
Where does Fix gone?
And he just says it exactly the same way.
Spot.
Stop interrogating Sulu!
This is Spot.
Where is the peace conference?
He doesn't know.
I do
So-
not remember.
Can we also talk about the Enterprise?
Okay, they say it's a prototype, but I don't know who built it.
Right.
The cloak.
Right.
I'm sorry.
the Enterprise straight up surrendered to the Klingons, and they didn't commandeer the vessel.
Are you talking about when he said we surrender?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They didn't commandeer. There was a straight up actual surrender, and they didn't.
But that was
commandeer the vessel.
but that was him surrendering himself, and then they talk
Yes.
about what exactly the terms of surrender are, which is just
Okay.
you give us you send over the two men,
Okay.
and then they'll try to save. Just pay attention to the movie, and then
I'm
and they'll
trying.
try to save the Chancellor, but we're going to keep them no matter what happens.
Like
Like,
he's wearing
okay.
a Star Trek 4 robe.
and remember,
Yeah,
except
that's
for-
what he wore down in San Francisco.
and remember,
Yeah.
except for the conspirators, and we don't know that Chang's involved at that point.
Yeah.
And Chang doesn't want to tip his hat. They're not going to do anything to jeopardize the peace conference. So, like
Right.
surrendering, taking the ship would be a declaration of war.
That's
Brandon.
true. Yeah.
Right. His quarters seem bigger than Kirk's.
I think one of the
Definitely.
reasons that I go back and forth on Kirk and his "I hate Klingon" speech, and just how really stubborn he is about the whole thing, is that Spock seems really surprised and perplexed by it too.
Right. He's like, when he says that, he makes a face like.
Yeah, like it comes out of nowhere, and he's really, really surprised by it. And it's like I thought you were better than
Look at
that. I
Spock's
thought you were
pillow.
more civilized than that, or evolved or whatever.
Yeah.
And this is a Meyer speech if I've ever heard one.
Yeah.
He may not have actually written the speech, but it sure sounds like a Meyer speech.
Right.
So did I read correctly at the beginning of this that Leonard Nimoy helped write this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
He
his. I think he at least
Spock's harp is in there. I'd never noticed that before.
co-plotted. Yeah. I like this reaction. Everybody's humor. I find that insulting.
You're half human.
No.
Spock.
Yeah, that's true. He in TOS he always responded that way though,
Right.
where like the Vulcan side was supposed to take over more.
Right.
But
Look, they're making small talk.
that building in the background looked like the command center from Power Rangers. It really did.
Alpha,
Looks like they should have just
escape.
They should have just plopped.
I said, Alpha, Rita's escape.
So that was clearly
Yes,
that was
5
clearly
teenagers
part
with
of-
attitude.
That was clearly a partisan meeting right there. Half the room claps.
Half the room clapped and half the room didn't.
Yeah.
You know one of the big things that Power Rangers and TOS have in common?
What?
Vasquez Rock. They take the command center and they just superimpose it on top of Vasquez
Right.
Rock. You're just waiting for the Gorn Kirk
Right.
at the bottom of the command center from Power Rangers.
Random lady.
Yeah, she gets
Was
a
that
shot
She's
for
really
good.
worried.
Who's replaced
Yeah.
Valeris?
She was not ready for this.
Is he still wearing the patch, or did it get removed?
Wait, he is. He's,
No, did it get
No, I mean,
did it
he's
get
wearing a new
removed?
uniform. He's taking a shower and shaved.
Yeah.
I should hope so. After being on
He
Repente.
just crashed in that planet.
I wonder if that also came from a real speech somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
Just
feel
because
like-
we can do a thing doesn't mean that it doesn't follow that we must do that thing.
It
And I
sounds
use
a
that
little-
all the time. And
it's-
I'm sure this is where I got it from. Like, I use that
Right.
a lot.
Right.
But it sounds like a real thing.
It sounds a little bit like Kennedy's speech about the space program. Just a little bit.
Well, that was almost the opposite notion,
Right.
though, right? Like,
Right.
we choose to go to the
kinda
moon because
was.
we're going to go to the moon.
Mhm. Yeah, it's kind of the opposite notion,
Like,
but it
I
has
don't know what
that
you're talking about.
flavor.
Like, okay. So this is the TNG
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
engineering,
yeah, right
and we
there.
just put a bunch of people in front so we won't notice it.
Yeah.
Right.
No, get on this. No, we
It's
can't.
9:46 in the morning.
How do you know it's in the
case you didn't
morning?
know, because it's 0946.
Oh, okay. I didn't see what it said. Sorry.
For the clocks that they put on there for some reason, I don't know why.
But yeah, we don't know Chang's motivations either, beyond just generic
Right.
Klingon, I don't want things to change. And that would even be more okay if we just talked about it.
Right.
If we just talked about, the old ways and, well, I guess we talk a little bit about how the Empire is not what it once was,
Right.
but that's not as much in the forefront as it ought to be.
Right. Back off.
Wouldn't it be nice if, and then we just see it back? We don't do that very often, Brandon, where we just see the ship back up.
Right? No kidding.
But don't you think it would have been nice if we'd maybe evoked the major Klingons from TOS and been like the glory days?
Right,
like,
right.
Remember back with Kang and Koloth and Kor?
Right.
Remember those guys?
No, and then they could have been like, remember Kailash.
Kailash!
Red Alert wasn't. Red Alert hadn't happened yet, but were their shields up already?
Yeah, their
Because-
shields were up. They raised their
Okay.
shields.
That's my dad's favorite line in a Star Trek movie.
Fly apart then.
Yep.
Hmm?
You're a
Didn't
little
notice.
shifty-eyed even
Yeah.
for a Romulan.
Sweating.
Yeah. Sweating. It looks like
She
Cartwright
pronounced it
just
wrong.
took.
She said praxis.
It looks like Cartwright just took the ice bucket
Yeah,
challenge.
I know.
Like,
He's having a heart attack, so he's sweating real hard.
yeah, look
It
at
looks
that.
like he's walking up the ramp thing like they have at the baseball stadium.
He's sparkling like a vampire from Twilight.
Whoa!
It just blew out the overhead.
Her thing goes crazy here too.
Brandon, this is gonna sound uncharacteristic of me to say.
Yeah.
Wait!
Is-
Did you see it? Oh my
What?
God! You could see a C-stand there when they just did the shake.
I didn't see it. Is Kalas
Yeah.
the Klingon version of America? Because it kind of is, right?
Yeah. That's pretty funny.
That's what the Klingons in Discovery think.
Girlish.
Kailash.
The way they say it, it's like somebody.
Kailash. That's what.
It's like somebody Velcro their mouth shut or stapled their mouth shut.
Like
Girlish.
crap on their face.
So they figure
I know.
out. They
Just
figure
Just
out.
put their face in cake every morning.
Eggplant is what they look like.
Sorry, what?
They basically just on the fly
He
figure
has
out how to
fuzzy
track
arms.
a cloaked
Fur.
vessel. Did we ever use this
Look.
again?
I
He's
don't
got
think-
that was a Klingon with Romulan eyebrows.
I
You
don't
see that?
think that is.
Well, actually, it's not a Klingon because it's West. but-
Right. I don't think that's Rene Bergeron playing that Klingon either. I think that's a different guy completely.
Some other guy, and then we take
and
the
then
mask
the mask
off.
and it's Rene Bergeron.
Aubergine has always been kind of crotchety.
Yeah.
I'm sure he was that way even back then. I bet he was like, I'm not putting that on. Although maybe not, because he wore all that makeup in
Right.
DS9 all the time.
Right.
Maybe that's not fair.
But, that game's afoot.
one of the most fun villain things that ever happens in anything is Cry Havoc and Let Slip the Dogs of War.
Where he
just spins around his chair. We'll see it here in a little bit. Cry Havoc! I can't wait.
Whoa.
It's my favorite part.
There it goes.
That's just the TNG corridors.
Uh-oh. Are they going to roll under the thing? Yes.
There he is! Cry Havoc! It's my favorite. I love it so much. And then that guy in the background is just like, have you lost your... Like, even for a Klingon commander that's all excited about...
The chair was motorized, too.
Shield's collapsing.
That's all excited about battle and stuff. You're losing it, dude.
Boom.
No, you're right. He would have needed it. He would have been like pressing buttons or held the joystick down to spin that chair. He wouldn't have. Forget it. The chair was motorized, so he wouldn't be using his feet. He's pressing a button to spin.
Yeah, and it just spins around. That's pretty funny.
That's amazing.
They didn't scan anybody's stuff when they came in. They didn't have like metal detectors.
I was going to mention
There's
this
no
earlier.
Security. So
that's my favorite McCoy line in this movie. I'd give real money if he'd shut up.
up.
And I've used that before too in things.
Yeah.
Do you think that
it is fire?
That's this movie being a little bit self-aware about how irritating the constant Shakespeare is?
Yeah.
Like, if it's annoying, the movie at least kind of knows it.
Right.
Like, they're doing it on purpose.
Right.
Like, that's his weird character quirk thing.
To be.
Can I throw out an irritating nitpick?
What?
He's a Klingon, and it sounds better in the original Klingon.
Right.
He would not be saying that in English. He would not say that in English.
Right.
Nope. Classic
Boom!
explosion.
Boom. Which they reuse next
In
movie.
Generations, we're going to see that exact explosion
next
when we
movie.
lose the
You know,
Duras sisters.
And I
Duras
noticed
sisters.
that when I was like 7 years old, seeing Generations
Did you
in
really?
theaters. I was like, that's from the last
Dude,
movie.
Plinkett had to point it out before I noticed it, and I was like, oh my god, I'm
that's the
such an
last
idiot, I
movie.
never
I was
noticed
like,
this.
they just reused that stuff. Why did they do that?
I was like, dang it, Red Letter Media, ruining Star Trek movies for me. He also says a thing in his Generations review about the end of this movie.
This is not
it's one of my
Shatner
favorite things.
jumping here. Watch.
No, it's not. No, he looks more like Chekhov in the face. What, like, who was that stunt double? That was weird.
That sounded like that sounded like Ezra Bohr saying "Protect the Chancellor." She's saying it about herself in the third person.
Oh, that's weird. I also like Arrest Yourself a lot. What are these aliens? What are they? You got a guy that looked vaguely like a Zach Dorn, but not a
The
Zach
Zach
Dorn.
Dorn migration and the medium burst.
Why do you remember things like that? Oh man. Oh,
And
look at that
he's
weird
escaping.
helmet. See the bird
It's
helmet?
not Klingon blood.
Yes, it is. It's exactly Klingon blood.
It's like Mission Impossible.
Yeah, it's exactly like Mission Impossible. I really like Colonel Worf's Klingon forehead.
And it's got some more stuff going on.
It looks
there.
really cool.
Yeah.
What do you think of the Colonel Worf thing?
That's interesting that they say the end of history because they after the Cold War ended, there's a famous book by this guy named Francis Fukuyama who talked about the end of history and like how it's going to be this after there's no more communism, it's going to be this period of neoliberal capitalism forever now and stuff, and there was no more conflicts really and stuff. It was like very 90s.
How can she make this assessment immediately after this has all happened, and she's probably wondering how in the heck Kirk is standing in front of her after being on Rurpente? Because she would have no idea at this point that he escaped. Because he literally kind of just escaped.
Yeah, but she just watched him.
She just
leap
watched
in front
somebody tried to kill the president of the Federation.
Yeah, like he's clearly trying to solve this problem.
They stopped it.
Right.
Those people are crazy.
I just think that
Yeah,
there'd be
it's nuts.
some higher
there's the
element of
Vulcan edict
disbelief.
back there. I never noticed that. But yeah, what do you think of Colonel Worf? Was that a dumb thing that they did, or
I thought it was okay.
Maybe the naming
So,
convention's weird.
this is one of my favorite Plinkett things.
Right.
In his Generations review, he's talking about Star Trek 6 at the beginning. He says,
Yeah.
and then they all stood around and posed for a picture that nobody took.
Right.
I think Kirk's like whether or not you buy that he's that on about hating Klingons at the beginning,
right?
Because really, what I'm complaining about is just that log. Like, I think the character arc is decent.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like in his defense, he's never met a good Klingon.
Yeah.
Not really, right?
I mean,
like until this.
I mean, I guess he probably thought maybe Kang was honorable or something. I mean, or you understand? I don't know.
Yeah, but he's never met one that he thought, like, the Federation could get along with, and it would
Right.
make sense to sign a treaty with, and
Right.
all of that. But I also like the idea that's maybe hinted at a little bit, that part of this is about, again, and of course Meyer's all about this with Wrath of Khan, is about getting older and getting past your prime, and the Klingons as one of the big enemies of the Federation was part of his glory days.
Right.
Look at the
Look
circuit
at
boards
that
hanging
chip.
down.
It just looked like a normal microchip.
Yeah,
You see
circuit
that?
board
The
hanging
circuit
behind
board,
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's got me.
We also...
Some space age.
Couple of major things
technology.
we haven't gotten a chance to talk about, and this is almost over. First of all, people make fun of this. That he uses that as a command second start of the right and straight out in the morning.
What
But
exactly is that, Captain?
yeah, wait, I guess. I mean, it's better than that away.
That away.
Oh boy. But what I was gonna say is, it's, boy, I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about? So, it is nice that we got a filler thing to explain how the Klingons and the Federation got together in the first place.
Right.
A lot of the point of this movie is to bridge the gap between the TOS movie era and TNG.
Right.
And I think that's probably part of why they threw Colonel Worf in there, just because
Right.
there is this kind of direct connective tissue.
Right.
So they're thinking TNG, of course.
Right.
And it was awkward before you had this movie, whether you like how they did it or not, that we knew they were together, but we didn't really know what the circumstances were, because that felt like a thing that would never happen. And I do like that there was one major incident that got the ball rolling, because it would take something like that.
Right.
They would have to
some
get
giant catalyst.
desperate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they talked about, like, the whole thing with the Enterprise C and stuff, which happened later.
Right.
But, there had to be something going, at least starting the process.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought the Enterprise B thing was all about the Romulans.
No, they had the thing with that was Enterprise C.
I mean, Enterprise C. I thought that was all about the Romulans.
They were trying to save a Klingon outpost, and
that's right.
they're going on a suicide mission and press the Klingons so much that it's really like, hey, maybe these people aren't so bad. And that's what caused the humans and the Klingons from going to war that they were in the alternate timeline of yesterday's Enterprise.
Okay. See, it's really hard to look at this stuff retroactively, knowing everything you know, and put yourself in the day and have historical perspective. Because I always kind of just assumed, if I even thought about it, that just meant that they broke the treaty and they went to war with us. Like, the treaty had already happened, but they went to war with us.
No, I think that
because this breaks that continuity.
Well, maybe it happened because
this is before that.
They kind of do have a continuity in there, because that colony was no, that was Worf, the Kittimore massacre and all that stuff. That was Worf.
Yeah,
never
Worf.
mind. That was Narendra 3 or whatever.
But we should mention that it's the Kittimore conference because of Worf and the Kittimore massacre. Yeah. So there's some really nice connected tissue, and obviously TOS fans that didn't care about TNG didn't need TNG for this, but this does help to fill that in, and it's nice that Kittimore was kind of a significant thing.
Well, maybe this was just an initial treaty and stuff, and it wasn't like, well, I don't know, but they talk about the Kittimore Accords.
Yeah,
so
the Accords seem to be the thing that bring us in, and the Accords are what get broken in DS9 when we temporarily lose the treaty and aren't allies anymore. That goes on for like a season.
Right. So I don't know, what the whole
thing another reason to watch DS9.
Yes, you do.
I know.
The other thing I want to mention, I'm surprised this didn't come up, is just that, and we probably talked about this with Wrath of Khan, is just that originally Meyer wanted to call Wrath of Khan Undiscovered Country. He finally got to use that title.
He finally got to use the title.
For this, yeah. I wonder if he had used that title, if there would have been more Shakespeare references in that movie instead of going so much to Paradise Lost and all that.
Right, and The Tale of Two Cities and stuff
Yeah.
they did.
Well, but also, isn't there... I'm trying to remember...
There's Oliver Twist.
Is there... I'm trying to remember what the literary references are in Space Seed.
So, that's Milton.
Like, is that Milton?
Paradise Lost.
Yeah, that's
And
what I
then
thought. Okay.
They do...
So
Oliver
he still would have
Twist,
done
that's
that
what's
because he's
in,
looking at Space Seed. I thought the line, "Have you ever read Milton?" was in Space Seed.
Right.
But I couldn't remember. Momentarily, I was like, is that Wrath of Khan? No, that's Space Seed,
Right,
right?
well,
Yeah.
then Paradise Lost appears on the bookshelf in that
Right,
cargo.
and that's because of Space Seed, right?
Right.
But you're right, Tale of Two Cities is more what they reference in the film.
Yeah.
But one of the things I really appreciate about this movie, and obviously this can be done really poorly, I think it's adequate, at least, with this, is just making a big feature that actually matters to the to like the greater history of Star Trek. Like we have to call back to this movie and use things from it all the time
Right.
because it's a big important thing that happens. And I'm not saying every movie has to be like that. And you want some movies where we actually venture out into space and go find something and do something.
Right.
But
Where
it's
everything
nice to
isn't
have
too close to home.
It's nice to have a movie be such a part of the overall story.
Yeah, that was a Tale of Two Cities. Yeah.
What do you say?
Yeah, I was right. I don't know why I thought Oliver Twist for some reason. But yeah, it's a Tale of Two Cities.
No, I could have told you that.
Yeah, I don't know why I was thinking... I said what I was... Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they got a lot... This scene not as cheap as... I mean, I guess they kind
Five?
of moved to that. Yeah, well, definitely it's 5, yeah. But they got
Well,
more,
you got better
more
special
location
effects artists.
stuff. Yeah, definitely. Well, they got ILM back.
Yeah. And you're right, we do some location stuff. It's not all location, but we do
Right,
some.
they do a little more.
I don't know where they shot the court scene.
When they're that was just a soundstage, wasn't it? The Klingon
I mean,
court
probably.
scene?
Yeah.
But it wasn't like a set that they reused or anything like that.
No.
Yeah, but I mean, they built a little bit. I guess
They
just
did.
kind of scaffolding.
Right.
You're right, that's pretty minimalistic, but it feels grand. Like,
It feels like
it's
a lot of people.
It's a good
there.
scene, yeah.
Well, it's definitely lit like a lot of things that they later lit in Voyager with
Right.
that same kind of aesthetic.
I wasn't saying it was relit. It was a reuse of something. I was just wondering where they shot it.
No,
Right.
sure. It did remind me a little bit of the, not in any sort of scale or how it was laid out, but it reminded me of the court of Q.
Yeah, that's in Alaska.
Yeah, sure. Isn't it kind of amusing that we have to keep crediting Alexander Courage just for the ba 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 ba
Yes.
because that's all we
And
use.
they keep doing it all the
from the
way
theme.
through Beyond and everything. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but remember, every Abrams movie does the actual.
Oh,
theme.
they do that at the end. That's
yeah.
right.
I always have to tell you this. You never remember it
Right.
because I love that rendition a lot.
Yeah.
People always get up before the credits. I have to tell them about that. Like
Right.
it's a really nice version of it. Well, anyway, that's the TOS movies, guys.
Yeah.
We're through them.
Yeah.
The TOS
There you go.
movie.
We're through them.
We did
Wow.
6 movies, and it took us only.
Maybe 4 or 5 months. I don't know how long it
How
took.
long.
Oh, we did some other things in the interim.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's all the TOS movies. We are done with Star Trek 6. We're going to move on to Generations next time, of course. So look forward to that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a great movie, but it'll be fun to talk about, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I like it.
We
Yay.
know you do.
Yeah, we know you do.
Because you
Brandon.
like the spaceship crash,
Yeah.
which we'll talk about.
One reason.
Oh, no. My plan is from the moment Troy takes the helm, nobody talks but Brandon.
Brandon, you can
Like-
talk about this. Tell us
Like,
all about the
as it-
model.
yeah,
and
no,
how
as
they
it
built
drops.
the model.
No, Brandon
And
will
how
have
they
the
got
floor.
Out of here, then I
Brandon
want
will have don't say anything. No,
Yeah.
because don't start talking about it now. Because I'm gonna give Brandon the floor for the whole 25 minutes it takes
Right.
that ship to crash.
Right.
Anyway, in a like hour and a half movie. Well, anyway, everybody, thanks a lot for listening. I'm kidding. Those
Right.
are not the numbers. We will see you again in the not too distant future
Right.
for Star Trek Generations.
the
Yeah.
24th century.
Anybody
And
have
the 23rd.
and the 23rd? Anybody have anything else that you'd like to mention or bring up before we conclude
No, I don't
today's
think so.
commentary?
No.
Nope.
Buy Geekvolution the book. No.
What?
Yeah.
There is no Geekvolution in the book. Anyway, well, thanks a lot for listening, guys. We sure appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you again next time.
Yeah.
I was Captain Logan.
And I was Brandon.
And I was Adam.
See you later, folks.